cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife, leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 Just black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sim Racers World TV, and welcome to the 5th round of the Apex Technologies LMP2 Championship. We're here at the wonderful Circuit de 24 Heures de Mans, which of course is lovingly known as Le Mans, and Circuit de la Sarthe. It's the 5th round of the series, like I say, a wonderful 2-hour race beyond just a small qualifying session this evening. Chaz Draycott here in the booth, and I'm delighted to say that with me once again, or I say once again, for the first time, is our very new commentator this evening. His first gig with Sim Racers World TV is Jack Johns. We'll get to Jack in just a minute or so, but we have this practice session going on at the moment. Not too long to go, but what a circuit we have before us. Just over 13.5 kilometres, and as you can see, it is dark as well, so the drivers will have a lot to think about tonight. And Jack, your first gig with Sim Racers World TV, mate, and well, what a track to have it at as well. It's funnily enough the first place that Jack Werrell commentated at for us as well, who we both know very well. Circuit de 24 Heures de Mans, an unbelievable place. How are you feeling about this one, buddy?
I'm excited, yeah. That's the birthplace of the Jacks, and yes, I like your accent when you read it. It's one of those tracks that has multiple names. I used to know this as Circuit de la Sarthe, but it seems to have adopted the 24 Heures du Mans as its name these days.
Yeah, indeed. It certainly is a prestigious circuit, that's for sure. But this qualifying session that we have going on at the moment, practice session that we have going on, not many cars out at all, really. We've got Jacob Money just sort of lingering on pit exit, but to be honest, there's not really a heck of a lot going on. Although Kevin Ibe is out on track, the Swiss driver. He is out there in the darkness. But we are actually promised some interesting conditions today, aren't we, really? They're saying that it's going to go into dawn, into sunrise, so the more and more we go on in this race, the more and more we'll actually be able to tell who we're looking at.
I was going to say, it's pretty dark out there, Chaz, but obviously we've got the headlights and their numbers light up, the little LED panels, so we can kind of see what's going on. But as the sun comes up, like you say, we'll be able to see more and more battles. There's a lot of people. That was a big swapper on coming out of that hairpin. But yeah, loads of people in the pits at the moment. It's right near the end of the practice session. Long circuit, 13 kilometers, 13 and a half to 3 minutes. Not really enough time to go around. It's just an outlap for those that are in the pits.
Yeah, indeed. It's not going to be the easiest of nights for some of them. I mean, I actually commentated here last night as well on the Scandinavian GT series, and the eventual champion of that championship, Lester Back of Williams Esports, had a nightmare qualifying session just because he simply didn't get enough time, and that's something they're really going to have to think about as the session goes on. But just getting a lap in here, it's not really the sort of place you could just nip out of the pits, is it? Because, I mean, an out lap and a fast lap round here, you're talking 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's right, and I'm sure IB's aware of that, currently driving out there. He's one of the only ones on track, one of 2 drivers. But he's on his out lap right now. He's not going to complete the lap, so he knows full well that it's just him, and we're all watching him.
Yeah, indeed. Getting plenty of airtime through the Porsche curves. The pace of these LMP2 cars is just absolutely mind-blowing. We'll go on board even and get some noise in our ears as the Swiss Kevin Abe suddenly runs very wide in the last part of the Porsche curves. Oh, lights it up. Good save, Sunshine. But that's the thing around there. It's all about momentum. And the last couple of corners on that section of the circuit really can catch you out. They're off camber. They're a real nightmare just in the way that you have to wash off so much momentum if you need to correct or anything like that. Ford chicanes are the same. Kevin not really getting on with them there either. It's going to be a tough night.
Look at that back end, Chaz. Look, it's just fully fighting it all the way around this track. Those chicanes, those Ford chicanes right at the end there is one of those corners, and I'm sure you'll agree, where it's probably better to be consistently cautious than to really attack them, because they really do bite.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, you need to be level all the way through them. You know, you can't push the car too much, because if you do, like you said there, you know, Kevin Abe hanging the back end of that car out quite a lot, and you do lose momentum. In terms of the championship, anyone that's been watching from the get-go will not be surprised to know that it's Maxime Brient at the top of the pile for Mivano Sim Racing. The Frenchman has won, I believe, 3 rounds of the championship so far. Alexander Walton, though, he took a win last time out at Sebring. It was a wonderful performance from Alexander, so he is second in the championship. However, he's 40 points off. Now, you get 40 points if you have a very, very good day and win the race. So, really, we've seen drivers get 39, even 38 points for a win. So, if by the end of tonight, Maxime Brient can stay 40 points ahead, we've only got 1 round of the championship left after this at the wonderful Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. So if he does it well tonight and gets the win, then pretty much he's not going to be touchable before Spa happens. So it's all to play for. And, I mean, we love a championship decider. Obviously, having it go down to the final race is always exciting, isn't it, Jack? But when you get it done with 1 race meeting to go, as a driver especially, it's so exciting to have, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And if he, like you say, if he does do it, he can go into Spa just completely relaxed. And if anything, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably start from the back in Spa if I've already signed up the championship, just to give myself a bit of fun. No pressure on where you finish. But obviously, like you said, all the pressure is on this race. If he wants to do it and bring it home today, he's going to have to. He was second fastest in practice. Qualifying is about to begin, so let's see what he can do.
Yes, indeed. And interesting that they actually start from the end of the Porsche curves as well in this qualifying session. That's a new one on me. I've not seen that before, so they don't have to do an entire outlap, but that's kind of good, kind of bad for them, really, because they're straight into it, right at the deep end. They don't get a chance to get used to the conditions, see what the car is doing. We'll go on board with Maxime, and you can see the sky isn't completely pitch black. The sun will rise. Look at the corrective oversteer there through the chicane. But, I mean, this place is hard enough in the daytime, and I haven't actually competed in an iRacing 24-hour of Le Mans yet. I really want to, but it always seems to creep up on me, and I tend to miss it. Either that or I just don't have the preparation. But this place at night, it's so scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you've got the amount of cars that we're seeing on track right at the same time, all you can see is headlights in the mirror, tail lights up ahead, and it's really a struggle to see where you're going, but without all those distractions. But just a note on you saying them starting right at the end, I'm not sure. I get why they're doing it in terms of saving time, but I highly doubt that the tyres would have been pre-warmed. So this lap is effectively an out lap, because he's probably going to be running on cold tyres, as will everybody else on this first run.
Yeah, it's intriguing to see how they get on with this one. And to be honest, I think there's only one way to find out, as there usually is in motorsport, which is by looking at the clock come the end of the session. We also have, just looking down my list at other championship hopefuls, we also have Burkhard Maring with us as well in the Simsa Esports machine. Now, of course, we have the two classes this evening. We have the Pro and Am classes. Obviously given its full name, Amateur. Pro, all of the orange stripes that you'll see on the timing screen and orange numbers. And Amateur, of course, blue. Now, in the Am class, as I desperately scan down the the championship standings to have a look, it is Roy Mass that is top of the pile in that one for CCTS Esports. He is only 1 point, though, ahead of James Ibram of Exothermic Racing. Now, I didn't know...
Don't want it much tighter than that.
No.
1 point.
Indeed, that's it. And he, to be fair, is only 4 points ahead of Jacob Money. And then, oh, hello. James has got that wrong. He's off into the sand. But then he's got Jacob Money 4 points back, and Justin Young only 1 point behind him. So, between the top four, there is 6 championship points in the AM class. So that is very much all still to play for.
Most annoying thing about that for James as well is right at the start of the lap, so now he's got a full 3-4 minutes until he can try that again.
Yeah.
But looking at the sectors, speaking of Maxime Briant, he's I mean, there's 7 sectors out there, long circuit, and so far 6 of them purple.
Yeah, indeed, doing an absolute corker. So it's what we come to expect from Maxime Briant, isn't it, really? I mean, like I say, he's won most of the races this season. 75% if you're trying to be a mathematician, but he's always been one of those drivers. I mean, Movano, you know, they don't breed slow drivers at Movano. They always have incredible talent. We're about to see what Briant can do with his first lap. I can't believe how quickly a lap goes out of the window as well around here in these cars. We're just waiting to see who else comes out, but Briant crosses the line. And it is a 3:26.017, incredibly close to breaking the 3:25 barrier. 8 tenths off him is Molnar Peter. Melendez goes 2.4 seconds off. Now, just to very quickly explain to anybody that hasn't seen before, the sectors and the times are basically split between the two classes. So while it suddenly says Jacob Money's time there of a 3:29.2, and then he's suddenly got 8 tenths of a second back to Roy Mass. That's basically just because of their class. And we can't, unfortunately, split them visually in terms of their classes, so we can't have the pros above all of the AMs, but that's just how it is. But it also means, though, unfortunately for Roberto Edouard, that he's in the middle of all the AM cars at the minute, and he won't want to be there, will he, Jack?
Not at all, no. That, like you said, I am spotting under the cowl of the darkness. Obviously, the sun is rising. It's going to be nice to see what liveries these cars are running. This is the first time I'm going to have seen these guys racing. I know we can see their images in the bottom left next to their names, but I want to see some of these. I want to see who's got their spec maps on, any chrome or matte colours on there. I want to see the shine. I can see this orange car does look nice, just from what I can see so far. But when the sun's rising. I'm looking forward to seeing who's got the best looking car out there.
Yeah, indeed. We're going to get along just fine. If spec maps are high on your priority list, we are going to get along just fine. We've got Rennie Racing. Doesn't do much for your heart, does Drew Lloyd, but either way, still quick. Looks like a different livery to what he's actually got in his picture, which is ironic considering what we were just discussing, but we'll get to that later. We've got 3 Simsa esports cars in the top 5. Molnar Peter is currently second for Impulse Racing. In the AMs, as you can see, it's Jacob Money positively racing top of that pile with Roy Mars and Will Money just behind. But they've got Drew Lloyd, who we were just looking at there, stuck in the middle with you. But there's still quite a lot of drivers that haven't put times in yet, really. Some of them...
Yeah, I was just looking at that. There's 21 on the board, but yeah, big group of cars.
Some of them have done a lap, it seems, but others are just finishing them. James Ibrahim has just completed his, but of course we saw him spin earlier, so that's not going to count. So he goes onto it again. Dion Neuveld hasn't actually got moving yet, unfortunately. We do have Fernando Teixeira just coming to the end of his lap for the Fuel Tech Esports team. Through the Ford chicane. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, I think. There's some lefts and some rights. I still don't understand how that is a corner on this track. It's just kills all of the flow. But either way, I remember that from the good old Race Driver Grid games. The old
one of the worst. Yeah, one of the worst places for me, especially on here, obviously with 1Xs, we saw one person spin, but there's a few places that just fully invalidate your lap. But here's one of them, but not too bad. It's the fast right-hander just after Sector 1. So if we stay with Azam through here, this bit's not too bad, but then using all the track on the exit, you can see he'll be fine there. That's not going to be a 1X, but it's a dangerous place to be. This bit's all well and good. Easy on the brakes into this left-hander. Coming around this right, and then it should be flat out through this section. But here, this fast right, this is where the 1Xs happen and the laps get invalidated, because you want to carry as much speed as you can. If you go too far over that curb, that's that. It's done.
Yeah, Tete Rouge is an absolute nightmare, isn't it? Like you say, it's such an important corner as well to carry all the speed down here. Look at that, Timo Hayden for Impulse Racing. That was definitely a lap done on Impulse. Second place for him. The 96 ahead of the 95. Oh, trust me, by the end of this broadcast, you'll be getting sent your own Chaz Draycott pun bingo card. To be fair, people actually, there is actually a guy I commentate on another platform, let's call it for now. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one of the co-commentators there genuinely tries to write down puns for people's names before I say them. As Paulo Munoz, well,
wow, look at that time.
It's chilly at the top of the pile, you could say,
yeah.
for Paulo. But Pure Sims have entered quite a number of drivers into this series quite recently, and well, there's a reason why. And Paulo actually became quite famous in his own way during the iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona. He had an earthquake while he was racing, and he carried on.
Wow,
he didn't think, I'm going to get out of the house. He carried on, and he was doing fastest laps when he was on an earthquake go on. What a guy. Look at the scent.
I don't know if that's, I mean, we'll see at the end of this lap. That looked like it might have been a 1X because he fully carried speed through there. But 325.5 and only a tenth quicker than Brilliant. But they're leagues ahead of everyone else at the moment, who's 0.8, 1 second behind.
Yeah, indeed. And the next one behind is Alexander Walton now, who is, of course, second in the championship, fresh off the back of a win. And one thing we are going to see here, which I'm going to absolutely love, we'll put this in slow-mo just as Walton comes past. If the camera doesn't blur too much, you'll see 3 dots next to his number. Oh, thank you, iRacing cameras. He actually has the 3 dots next to his number because those positional lights actually work in iRacing. Unlike other sims that I've raced on before where they don't work. You just seem to have a random light turned on. In the AM class, still Jacob... Oh, no, never mind. Kamal Hashimi goes fastest. Literally as I say that. Jacob Money's second at the moment, though, so he's not quite on the money. And there you go, James Ibrahim. He goes faster as well, so that suddenly took a turn, but that makes up for his spin earlier, doesn't it, Jack?
Definitely going straight to the top of the pile with a 328.3. Yeah, what more could he ask for? He's 7 tenths ahead of the next guy, so it was really close between Hashime and Money. Only a tenth of a second between them, and then Ibram's like, "Thank you very much. I will show you all up." 7 tenths.
Yeah, nice time. Very nice time indeed. He's going to be hoping to keep that pace up, but you can see how quickly the light is arriving here. We're starting to see liveries now, and what a livery to see as well on the exothermic racing machine. Gorgeous looking car. But we still have a number of drivers, although I say that. Where's Azam going to go on the board? 5th fastest. Good stuff from Ramez. He needed that right near the end of the session. Ivo Loebscher hasn't moved either yet. Dion Neuveld, he hasn't moved. Although Loebscher's done his best sectors, but then it seems sector 7 he got an off track and it just completely ruined the lap, unfortunately. Kevin Ibe is out there, and Ibe going for pole, he says. But to be fair, as an AM driver, he's got to be a bit realistic and just go Ibe going for fastest in class. Oh, I'm not sure how it translates in Swiss, so don't ask me. But either way, through the Porsche curves in a Dallara. Seems like blasphemy, but it's actually quite nice to watch, in fairness. It's interesting how bright these headlights are as well, isn't it? They really do look very strong on these P2 cars, and they're going to need it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. When you've got like 30 cars in your mirrors with all of them, you can't look behind you. You just need to look face forward, and if you even glance at the mirror, you're blinded.
Certainly are, and then that's before you get absolutely sent at the chicane. But there will be a bit of shenanigans here and there. We do often see that, but I mean, it's the first lap here. We've got nearly 40 cars in the field, so plenty will go on. But the thing is, as I'm sure you've seen before, Jack, you know, some of these guys, as Will Money goes back up to, he's 3rd place in class. As you will have seen before, you know, with longer races, sometimes you think drivers will get all level-headed and just chill out a bit. But honestly, these guys treat this like a 2-hour sprint. It is phenomenal racing, but I'm excited to see what happens at the front, though. Maxime Brient, like I've said, could take the championship today. However, Paulo Munoz and Alexander Walton trying to put a bit of a stop in that, it seems.
Yeah, and with this circuit, I mean, that back straight lasts absolutely forever. So qualifying, yeah, it's important, but it's not the be-all and end-all of this event, because the slipstream is going to be absolutely ridiculous down the 2 back straights, and there's another straight coming back after the hairpin. So it's going to be really important to stay with the train. Any sort of incident in the middle of the pack that creates a big gap, those guys are just going to be stuck amongst themselves then. There's going to be little trains and battles breaking away from each other from there.
Yeah, that's it. I again, as I mentioned before, I commentated on a series last night, a one-make series as well, with the Mercedes-AMG GT3 around here, and as soon as you have a battle, it just breaks you up that little bit from the train in front. You just have to run your own race then. You know, you have to be so careful about losing any time. With others, you can be patient, just knowing that you're saving fuel, which we're going to see a lot of tonight. But these guys have really got to play the long game here. There are going to be a lot of mind games going on. James Ibram, just 3 tenths off his fastest time. Mark Winters is just about to cross the line and finish his lap as well in the Team Winters racing machine. It was TWR before, but he didn't want to get a copyright strike against Tom Walkinshaw Racing. But he's 8th in class at the moment. Fernando Teixeira is just about to finish his lap. I just want to go on board again through the Ford chicane just to see the pace these guys launch it in at. Nearly 290 Ks. That was a bit of an interesting approach though, wasn't it? He flicked it very hard left before he'd even got to the braking zone.
He's not the first one I've seen do that so far in qualifying either. They just jink it over to the right where the pit lane's about to go off, and then they sort of diagonally come across, just trying to carry as much speed as they can. But I'm not sure how lethal the curbs are in these cars. Obviously these cars are very low down. I'm sure they don't want to be all over them, because that rear end is very unstable at times.
Yeah, it can be quite scary. And the thing is with iRacing as well, you know, floor damage is not your friend. I mean, I say that like it's anyone's friend in any other sense, but we're just waiting for the session to take over now, and I'm not sure whether he knows it, but Dion Neuveld is going to be the one that means that we have to wait the full, 35 seconds now. Either way, top of the pile looks very interesting indeed. Paulo Munoz barely a tenth of a second faster than Brient. Then it's Walton, Hayden. Grinbergas is 5th. He'll be pleased with that. Molnar Peter, Ramez Azam, Burkhard Maring. Then we have Nathan Moore and Daniel Kraft, the 2 other Pure Sims esports drivers inside the top 10. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on them, boys.
Here's one for you, Chaz. So we've got 5 drivers who didn't set a time. On top of the pile on the timing screens at the moment is Manuel Winans, which makes you wonder, why not set a time?
I like that. I was going to say Ryan don't know, but that doesn't really work, does it? Andrew Dawson's a new one to the championship as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. But we do have a 5-minute warm-up session here, just for the drivers to get used to everything. Now, it's quite nice to have this, to be fair, because normally, as you know, you have qualifying, and then you jump straight into a race. There's no... How do I say it? There's no sort of hype or build-up. You know, when you have qualifying and a race on a separate day, which I would love to see in esports. I think it's been done once or twice before, but when you have qualifying one day and then the race the next day, you have that massive hype of, this guy's qualified ahead of this guy, you know, what can they do? And you can get in each other's heads a little bit, but you don't really get that on iRacing, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose it's just part and parcel of sim racing. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I haven't seen it done yet, but like you say, there will be people out there that try it. It depends on the following, I'm sure, of the event itself. But at the same time, you may have just solved a lot of the incidents in iRacing. Going from qualifying straight into the race, a lot of people get hot-headed. I'm sure these guys won't. There's a lot of very fast drivers out there, and it's 2 hours of a race, so they're not going to be chucking it all away at turn 1, are they, Chaz?
You'd think not. In all fairness, though, like I say, these guys do honestly treat it like a 2-hour sprint. Some of the racing is really phenomenal. It's a hell of a lot of fun to watch. So I'm excited to see what they make of Circuit de la Sarthe. I mean, wonderful shot there as we look back down the straight. You can see the cars in the background as well, just getting to the first chicane. And one of the things about these P2 cars that we've noticed before is that, yes, they're very fast in a straight line. You know, they'll do nearly 290 Ks before the final chicane, but much like the Formula 3 cars on iRacing, they've got this incredible initial punch out of the corner, but after that, it seems like they take a while to get to the top end, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like you said, the first and second gear seems quite short in a way, but then you get to the middle, that's very feisty. Yeah, nearly straight into the wall. This is just a warm-up, guys. I suppose they're all just knowing what they can get away with, finding those limits early, but yeah, the middle gears tend to be a bit long, and they're going to need to be for this track. I mean, you don't want to reach the top end too soon, otherwise your engine's going to blow.
It's very true indeed. And of course, we're going to see a lot of people lifting in the slipstream and just holding back from making any moves. There's going to be a lot of fuel saving here. Strategy is very much a part of it, and I always think that racing that involves strategy, it makes it a little bit more exciting because it's not down to outright pace then. You know, there's another element, another thing to go right, or even another thing to go wrong. And drivers have to try and calculate the fuel on the fly. Some of them have race engineers, you know, people have spotters in iRacing, and it's a great thing to have, but I always do like the idea that, you know, drivers have to think about their own fuel on the fly. It's a very demanding situation to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not too sure exactly on the strategy for tonight's race, but like you said, people are going to be working it out in their heads as they go. Some people are going to want to stop earlier if they're caught in a battle of a number of cars that they don't want to be stuck in, and they know that they're losing time. Some of the smarter drivers will think, actually, do you know what? I can get away with stopping early right now. I'll come in, maybe have a bit of fuel, and I'll come out in some fresh air, bit of space, and I can just put in some quick laps. The downside of that, of course, is they might be out of the slipstream train unless somebody else does it with them. So maybe some teammates out there working with each other, 2 people pitting at the same time and then just slipstreaming each other. That will probably help. So there's some interesting strategies that they could take.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, one of the things that we saw last night in the race that I covered was that, you know, the guy that was at the very front of the field, no one was overtaking him. They were just staying behind him the whole way, but he had to put more fuel in when it came to his pit stop. So he lost out, dropped off the back of the train that were following because they all pitted at the same time. He pitted 1 lap earlier, had to take more fuel, and it was just a nightmare for him. And then we had a guy that pitted very, very late indeed, stayed out a number of laps after them because he'd been in a train, saved fuel, and his pit stop, because he calculated how much he needed to the end rather than just brim in the tank, he took considerably less fuel and jumped like 5 people and then joined the train in front even. So it can go one of 2 ways really, and I think that it all depends on track position. It is really king around here, to be fair, because like you've said, that slipstream is all important, not just for your lap times, but it helps you just sort of plan out how you're going to work your race out. So There's going to be a bit of a mixed bag tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, and like you said, there's a downside to unchecking that fuel box early. You need to have your maths calculations spot on, because there's been a number of times where I've tried that and I have run out on the last lap just before the line. And you don't want that to happen, especially not after 2 hours of hard racing and effort.
Yeah, that's the thing. The longer the race, the more heartbreaking it is. You know, the more effort that's gone to waste, unfortunately. But that's the black and white of it. So this brief one-lap warm-up session is over then. And the All-In Sports Racing Simulators Le Mans LMP2 will be getting underway very, very shortly. We'll run through the grid then. Paulo Munoz takes pole position alongside Maxime Brient, championship hopeful this evening. Alexander Walton is then alongside Timo Hayden on row 2 with Gustas Grimbergas and Molnar Peter on row 3. Following them is Ramez Azam, Burkhard Maring, Nathan Moore and Daniel Kraft, making it a very patriotic 5th row. Bart Horston is then alongside Jose Buizan on row 6, with Roberto Edouard and Drew Lloyd on row 7. James Ibrahim is the highest placed AM driver ahead of Alvaro Melendez, with Kamal Hashemi and Rodrigo Lizovsky just behind. Will Money is then ahead of Roy Maas and his relative Jacob Money. Then it's Hans Blankart, Fernando Texeira, with Jancho Oval in 24th place. We then have Alvaro Montes with Mark Winters and Justin Young, Kevin Ibe 28th in the 128 car. EJ Fuellner is alongside Lee Tucker with Andy Spicer and Ivo Lobscher in 32nd place. Behind them we have Andrew Dawson and Manuel Wynants with Dion Neuveld and Ryan Donaher in 36th place, and that rounds out your grid for this wonderful 2-hour event. Plenty of time for it to go right, Jack. Plenty of time for it to go wrong. Maxime Brient could win the championship today. Is there anybody other than him, you reckon, that you've got your eye on for a win?
Do you know what? The Chilean driver, Paulo Munoz. He got pole. It was close, though. I wouldn't mind seeing him win, just to maybe try and extend that championship to the final round.
It's a good shout, to be fair. It's just going to be on Alexander Walton now. He needs to outscore Maxime Brient tonight. If Maxime outscores him, then that is it. So if Paulo can take the win, maybe rattle Maxime a little bit in the early stages, it will make all of the difference. Round through the Porsche curves. And we get to see liveries now, which is nice. So we do get to do what Jack Werrell and I have done for a very long time and say, what's your favourite livery tonight? We'll come to that later.
We'll give it a bit of time. There's a big sea of orange there in the front end of the packs, which is, I'm going to be honest, I like the look of them already. But I'll have a good scroll down the field. It's the Simsa Esports cars. They're very nice golden colour. But I'll have a think about that one, and then we'll come back to it. Yeah.
Right, Paulo Munoz. He'll be feeling the pressure now. And it's not the first time we've seen a Porsche out in front at Le Mans, is it? Let's face it. But either way, an absolute all-star front row here. Paulo, very, very quick indeed. The whole Pure Sims squad, to be fair, is a very, very strong squad. They've come on strong recently. The Partuis de France do their flyover in their Alpha Jets, flying the tricolour.
Chaz, Alex is in a great place here in third. He's got a double toe.
Yeah,
he could really make this happen today.
That's a very good shout. Very good shout indeed. They've all filtered down to single file, which is nice. But the All-In Sports Racing Simulators Le Mans LMP2 is underway. Everybody flying down the straight and keeping it nice and tidy. James Ibrahim is going to lead away your AM class. That's Alvaro Melendez right behind him. But he does not need to worry about that for now. But, I mean, we said earlier there may be chaos at the start, but the single file thing, that's nice and tidy. I like that.
Well, almost spoke too soon, but that was the thing. He just went wide. There wasn't any contact there. Yeah, a few side-by-side battles, but very clean for the first few corners. Didn't want to take it side-by-side into those final chicanes. We've got a few little ding-dongs here. Look at this. Someone's going slow. I wonder if that's a slowdown of some sort. Is that Brient? Tumbling down the order. He's in 5th place.
Yeah, Brient lost a couple of places there. I think he did go a bit too hot into the left-hander at the bottom of the hill, and he has now lost out and needs to make sure he gets back in that slipstream straight away. Mark Winters has dropped a number of positions. Oh, there's chaos in front of him. That's newcomer Andrew Dawson for Exothermic Racing. Well, welcome to the series, Andrew. We hope you enjoy your stay. But another slowdown there, looking like Nathan Moore in the Pure Sims Esports machine. He's going to have James Ibrahim go around the outside of him, or is he? James decides to get out of it, or does he? It's all a bit touch and go early on, and this is the thing when there's multiple classes going on, you've got to be very, very careful, haven't you, really, because it's who you race and who you don't.
That's right. Pick your battles wisely, boys. Especially, come on, we're 1 minute into a 2-hour race. They're going to go 3 wide into the next chicane. Who's going to come out on top of this? We've got the red car, the number 25 car on the inside here. James Ibram somewhere in there. There he is. He's at the back of this train of 3, so he's going to try and pick his way through. And he's going to come out at the back of it. So they actually all made it through. No contact. Quite nicely done. Clean. Roy Mass here. Big trains. They're all doing the right thing here, Chaz. As they're not really fighting too hard, but like you said, I can see already there are some feisty moves. If an opportunity presents itself like this, he's going up the inside of Roy Mass here. People are going for it, even though they're trying to stay with that train.
Yeah, that's it. You've just got to get in the head of the drivers around you and really put the pressure on. Paulo Munoz has had a slowdown as well. He's now dropped down. Alexander Walton leads this race, and just behind you've got Maxime Brienne and Timo Hayden. You've got Munoz getting out of the way of everybody. He's really got a bad slowdown. What a time to have it. Pole sitter dropping down, and it's 2 Sims 3 Sports cars at the front once again. So what a start for these guys. But of course, Alexander Walton, he is the man that can extend this championship to the final round, like you said, Jack, and he's doing just that at the minute. But as you've also said, we're only a couple of minutes in.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting scenario now, because you said about the fuel saving earlier. And you've got 2 members of the same team. I wonder if Grimbergus is the type of guy to... Is it worth him leading this battle and saving Alex fuel? Or is it worth him playing rear gunner, sort of Valtteri Bottas style, and holding Brienne up as much as he can and sort of giving Walton that lead? You've got a few more Sims esports cars out there, but at the moment they're not really in a position to help out. As we see everyone coming through these fast S's. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I don't know what would be best for these 2.
Neither do I. Oh, Munoz has got another slowdown through the Porsche curves. It's been a nightmare first lap for him. He's trying to stay out of the way through the Ford chicane. Doesn't want to cut that because he'll get another one. Oh, what a pain in the backside for Paulo Munoz. That's going to hurt. But yeah, I agree. You know, Gustas, he could be rear gunner. I like the Valtteri Bottas reference, especially after watching the first few episodes of Drive to Survive. But Brienne, he needs to attack. He needs to get on with it and do what he does best, and just lead. But it's not going to be easy, because we know how quick Walton is. We know how good Gustas can be as well. So it's not like it's going to be an easy ride no matter where you are in this field. These guys are all so quick. But I think, to be honest, Alexander is in the box seat at the minute, because he can then lead with confidence of knowing what's going on behind him. But also, when it comes to the pit stops, sometimes it can help if you're the first car in. You're the one to blink first. It's not always a bad thing, really, is it?
No, not at all. But I've got a feel for Munoz here. Pole position. He's just made a move up into 10th, to be honest. But he was down in 11th place, so a 10 place loss for Munoz. Here he is. So he's just got past Boissan, and they're coming through the chicane. And now he's just going to try and make his way back up as high as he can. But I fear, from 8th upwards, you can see there's a 2-second gap forming already. That's ahead of the number 50 car of Horston. That slipstream might be starting to get, I mean, the straights are big, but starting to get out of reach for Horston there.
Yeah, I'd say 2.5 seconds. You're not really going to get much. You'll pick up maybe the odd thousandth. There's a poor cone on the way into this second chicane that will get knocked over more times than I've had hot dinners this evening. So keep an eye out for that. That's obviously not the most important thing going on, everybody, but trust me, times are hard when you're a cone at Le Mans. Either way, Roberto Edward, he's in the middle of a battle at the moment. Drew Lloyd in front, Nathan Moore behind, then Alvaro Melendez. 4 different teams in this fight. I imagine Drew Lloyd won't want heartburn by the end of this race, but he's driving for Rennie Racing, so he'll be fine. Either way, plenty to look at in his mirror. We've had a few issues early on, though, Jack, with a couple of drivers going off. We'll see what happened to Mark Winters.
Oh, big net codes.
That was one of the biggest net codes I've seen in a while. That was crazy.
There was a good meter between those 2 cars. That was very interesting.
He's in the States, Mark Winters, but most of these drivers, well, a number of them are. The league admins are, anyway. This is Andy Spicer. Oh, we've all done that.
Yeah.
If you say you've not done that, you're lying. contact. That's Ibe. And, oh, wow. What avoidance there from the driver behind Justin Young.
Very lucky. Well, or skill. Very skillful.
Ivo Loebscher that was. We'll go on board with Ivo. How lucky can you get? Nice. Yeah,
I'm glad
skill.
to jump on board with Ivo, actually. He's the biggest gainer so far across the whole field. He's up 7 positions on the start.
He's having a flyer at the minute. He's got a car attacking. Hans Blanchard is also in a battle a bit further ahead. Fernando Teixeira in there too. But yeah, Ivo Loebscher for Positively Racing. Teammate of our colleague Daniel Handover as well. In a very bright and colourful livery with lots of plus signs on it. Of course, the whole positive vibe. But look how quickly he's closed up on this train in front here, Jack. It's amazing how quickly these things can turn around. But at the end of the day, if you're consistent on the twisty parts of these circuits, then that's all you need to do for a good half a lap to get yourself in a good scrap ahead.
He's in a good place here. He's going to have to slow right down as he closes to the back of him. The car in front of him there, Montez, I think that was, he's just getting all sorts of out of shape into that chicane. That was very close for Lauscher there. Positively charging through the field.
He is indeed. He's got Montez. And Montez goes to turn in.
He's going around the outside of the next corner. Don't go too wide on the exit. Can he hold this? This is going to be tight through here. He really wants this position through this fast right. He's going to have the inside to this next corner. That's position done. It's his. What a move.
Lovely stuff by Ivo Loebscher. He had to work for it though. Alvaro Montez did not want to give that up, but importantly, it's now 1.2 seconds to the car ahead. So he still has to push to go after Hans Blanchard. But with the slipstream at 1.2 seconds, again, you might get a tiny bit, but it might not be the most you've ever had. Now at the front, Walton and Grimbergus are right together. There are 2 cars there. They're literally bump drafting a P2 car is something I didn't think I'd really see, but sim racing opens your eyes to a lot of stuff. Either way, it's working for them, but Briant is getting a push off Timo Hayden just behind for Impulse Racing. He's not part of either of the 2 teams ahead of him, so he doesn't really need to worry at this point. Oh, he needs to worry about the oversteer on the exit of the chicane, but he's just going to, I mean, as most of the drivers do when they're not in a team with the people that they're racing around, you've just got to have your own race, haven't you? And look at Briant now going past Greenbergus. Yeah,
I think he's just showing his nose there, Chaz. I don't think he's ready to make that move yet. But what's interesting, the longer they stay in this train, you've got now the other 2 Simsa cars. I'm sure they're all in a Discord having a chat. But you've got Azam and Marin just right behind these 2. So if they can get in front of Hayden and Briant, you've got 4 cars being able to play a strategy game then. And that's definitely going to be right into Walton's hands. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, they always do say strength in numbers, don't they? And there's nothing more apparent than that. So the 2 leaders, again, just stuck together. So it's definitely the case that Grimbergus is just helping Walton at this stage and acting as that rear gunner, maybe just giving him a push so there isn't that much of a pace disadvantage as we get into my least favourite corner in the world, Arnage. But there is such a train for this lead pack, though. It's very, very intriguing just to see who blinks first and who goes for the move first.
Yeah, just going back to Laubscher, he's actually got past Blanquart somehow, so the slipstream definitely was enough. He's now up 9 places.
He's on a mission, isn't he? To be fair, pro driver coming through some of the AMs, making life a little bit easier for him, but either way, I mean, even the AMs, you know, they're not slow drivers, so you still have to put the work in. You and I both know about lap traffic and how much of a pain in the backside it can be later, but when you're in the class above coming through, which is definitely something I don't know about, I'm usually in the lower class, but it's hard work because really, in the overall scheme of things, you know, it means, yes, an extra position on track, but if you're in a championship that's decided on... Walton!
Chad Walton's coming right down the order. Is that a slowdown or has he had an issue?
He's off! He's off on the entrance to the pit lane. I'm wondering whether... Has he had a hardware problem there? Because we see people blink before, but a lot of the time it's not always connection-based. Sometimes it happens if there is a major hardware issue and your PC doesn't put a signal out of where the car is. He's gone right. He's on the brakes. Yeah, that's... monitor's gone or something there. And then it blinks. Then it goes for quite a bit. He drops down. Oh, that's a nightmare for Walton.
Yeah, you don't like to see that, especially if that's going to help decide the championship. Not saying Briant couldn't do it on his own, of course, as he is up now into P2, but Grimberger's still in the lead. The other two Sims drivers just behind Hayden. So, I mean, Briant's got to have a bit of a smile on his face. These guys will enjoy battles, but at the same time, he knows now for the next hour and 50 minutes, this race is pretty much his. You've got Grimbergus up ahead, and Sims a spot, but anything can happen. Same thing could happen to Briant at this stage. So let's not fully call it now, 10 minutes in, but yeah, real shame for Walton down in 14th place at the moment.
That is absolutely heartbreaking for Alexander Walton. He's now in a fight with Drew Lloyd, who's just got past him, in fact, and he concedes the position into the first chicane. But he did a mega job of getting right to the front when he needed to. And now it's unfortunately fallen apart, but we do have to keep our eye on this battle at the front, because Maxime Briant wants to make it 4 race wins out of 5. Walton is the only other driver this season to win a race. So Maxime really wants to stamp his authority on this. He was unstoppable at the first race at Daytona that I covered with Ed May, and since then he's just continued to be an absolute star in this. But Gustas Grimbergus, he is no slouch here. He's doing a good job, but you've got to think with the slipstream though, Maxime could just play this to his advantage and stay behind him, and that I'd say that does more in terms of the mind games than getting ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, if he can just stay behind in that slipstream, it's going to be a fuel-saving game now. He's not going to be using as much as Grimbergus, but at the same time, the guys behind aren't too far back. Hayden's sort of got a little gap, but oh look, here he goes. He's going to go around the outside. Is he going to get this move done already?
Contact!
He's spun round. He's off. This is big. We said it could happen. We're 12 minutes in, and Briant's gone off.
That is unbelievable. I did not expect... I really thought that Maxime was just going to get alongside and back out and be like, haha, you've gone for the corner, I've not. But that was just... What? We'll go on a chopper cam. So Maxime goes to the left, as we saw. Grimbergus runs him over a little bit. Oh, it's
touch
hard.
And go, Chaz. That's hard to say because the track goes right, but it's so hard to call. What are your thoughts? Who'd you reckon?
It happened so quickly. See, Maxime goes for the corner. Gustas, he goes to the apex. In fairness, Maxime had the corner because he was ahead, but at the same time, Gustas didn't have to back out of that. There's no rule that says you have to back out of anything like that. And in fairness, if Maxime's got a car to the inside of him, it's his responsibility to make sure he leaves the room.
I was going to say he's potentially got damage here, and he is coming into the pits, so he didn't quite fall as far down as Walton did. But at the same time, Walton kept it out of the wall with his issue. As we got the Simsa cars also coming around the outside of Hayden now. Up into P2 goes Azam, and then, Marin not quite making it, but he's going to be really close down the straight. So the Simsa guys really making moves up the front.
Yeah, Daniel Kraft gets the best seat in the house here to watch this Impulse versus Simsa battle. So he's got a wonderful position. 6th place, though, for Dan Kraft. Started 10th on the grid, so he's gained a few. Be happy. Alvaro Melendez a little bit further back. He's gained 5 spots to be 11th for Iridium Motorsports. Big supporters of their drivers in the chat and, of course, the championship. James Ibram still leading class for Exothermic Racing. We now get to see the wonderful-looking Exothermic racing car. It is a gorgeous machine. It's got that polygonal design down the middle that's similar to the old Porsches. I say old Porsches, a few years ago. Here's Ivo Lobscher on his consistent run through the field. He's been great to watch so far, hasn't he, Jack? He's continuing this run to try and get past Roy Mars. Yeah,
I've been keeping an eye on this. He's been stuck behind Roy for a little while now as he gets this move done down this straight. This looks like a done deal, to be honest. But that is the last amateur car for a little bit for him to pass. He's now got to chase down. It's a 2-second gap, but he's now got to chase down the next someone who's actually in his class.
Yeah, indeed. Jancho Oval just ahead, and then Fernando Teixeira just ahead of him. Further up, we've got this going on. This is the thing with these slipstream battles that's just never ending. We've got Nathan Moore and Drew Lloyd side by side. Right behind them is Alexander Walton, and then that was James Ibram just pulling it in front of Rodrigo Lazowski, who was losing a lot of time there. Lost a considerable amount of time on the way into the chicane. Not quite sure why. And it's still close at the front. This Impulse and Simsa battle is very, very much alive now.
Look at the gap Grimbergus has got now. Look, it's 4 seconds up the road. Just these guys fumbling over each other. So well out of the slipstream of the leader. But these two guys, we got. Oh, this is going to get feisty. Then is he giving him a push? This is bump drafting still. These guys must have been practicing this. I would not feel comfortable pushing someone in these cars. But look at them, fully chopping each other's noses off, coming around the fast right. This is where Brienne had his accident. But they've both got through. There you go. It's now a Simza 1-2-3 with Walton currently in 13th place, trying to climb his way back up, right behind Drew Lloyd. He's actually just passed Drew Lloyd.
You've got to love it. Any live timing, asks Fraser Williamson. Good to see you, Fraser. It's been a long time. There is a live timing link there. Do bear in mind if you are using that the live timing calculates the gaps based on what car we're looking at. So it may not make sense a lot of the time to you, but there's a reason for that. We will have the gap on the side of the screen as well, which of course shows you the gap between the cars. That refreshes every so often, and so it doesn't give you any form of epileptic fit. As a bit of contact there between Roberto Edward and Alvaro Melendez. He says, thank you very much, I'll go through, but here, have a kiss for your troubles. Easy to make contact around there, though, because the thing is, the way these cars change direction, and it's similar with, with Formula 1 style machinery and open wheelers, you know, they change direction so quickly and they brake so aggressively. With no brake lights, bear in mind, but they do on these things. It's hard to react in time, so usually the racing isn't as close, is it? You do get a few more incidents when you get close racing and stuff like this.
Yeah, the higher the speed, the harder it is to be side by side. There's still, Edward. We was watching Edward there coming to the final chicane. It's still doing that little jink to the right. It just shows how fast they're going as they enter it. It just looks like they're yanking on the steering wheel, but I'm sure inside the car, it's probably a really smooth input, but it just looks really aggressive on the outside. But speaking of Brienne, after that pit stop, I'm not sure if it was longer due to maybe he's fixed his damage, but he's now down in 33rd place.
Ouch.
Ouch indeed. 31 places lost for our championship leader. Looking to take, was it his 4th win, did you say?
Yeah,
fourth win out of 5?
4th win out of 5 tonight, it would have been.
And yeah, now he's got a lot of work to do. Again, I mean, I said it once, I'll say it again. Let's not call it over. But he's got a lot of work to do to still take this championship tonight.
Yeah, he certainly needs to drive his heart out, really. There's no other words for it at the minute. It's going to take a lot of effort to get right, but either way, this is the circuit to do it because it makes it such a level playing field with Slipstream, so it's how he makes the most of it. And look at this. Paulo Munoz back up into P2.
Yeah, good effort. He lost loads to those slowdowns. He was down in, was it P8 at some point, and now he's past the Simsel guys. There's something must have happened here because it was a Simsel 1-2-3, and Azam's dropped right down to 7th. Was it a slowdown?
That's definitely a slowdown for Azam, and then Munoz went past Maring and Molnar Peter in one straight. So he gained a few at the end of the last lap, but then he's just had both of them down towards the second chicane.
Absolutely catapulted himself in front of those two. The slipstream working wonders for him. Perfect slingshot, textbook move. And now onwards to Grimbergus, who's 4.5 seconds up the road. This is Drew Lloyd. Oh, bit of contact. Oh, you don't want to do that. That's miscommunication, and he's going to go straight on as well. Ooh.
James Ibram as well, and leader that was.
Yes.
He won't be pleased with that one, and neither will Drew. So that's an interesting one. Ayabola Lawal in the chat. Where's Brienne? Well, as we just discussed there, Brienne is down in 32nd place, 18th in class, after an incident going into Indianapolis, one of the last places you ever want to have an incident. So I'm intrigued to see how he gets back on. It's the second comeback drive from the championship leader trying to become champion that I've actually commentated on at this track in 2 evenings. It's like someone's writing this.
Yeah, it's
honestly
scripted. It's, I mean, thinking back to it, do you know what? My mind's just gone blank. But whoever he was Grimbergus. He was passing Grimbergus for the lead. He had absolutely nowhere to go. It wasn't Grimbergus' fault. If anything, Brienne just needed to give a couple of inches more room, and try and get it done on the inside. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it's not over until they say it's over. And if it doesn't happen today, then they've got next round, of course, as well.
Yeah, indeed. That's the thing with having one more round to go. It's just, like you say, you'd want to think that they can be nice and calm. Walton is coming back into the pits. So as long as Brienne gets points, because he's 40 points ahead of Walton at the moment, you can just get 40 points for a win if you play it perfect, and you get all of the points available for it, as Jacob Money does the fastest lap in the AM class. All we need tonight from Maxime Brienne is 1 point. And he's currently, 31st place. From what I can see from previous results, you can get points all the way down to the likes of 27th place. And I think maybe beyond that as well. You get 5 points for 27th, and then it's 6, 7, 8 for the positions ahead. So I'd reckon you get points all the way down to 32nd. So he's currently, based on that maths, well, there you go, he's gone up a place. He's on for 3 points here, and that's now going to become 4 points as he goes past, importantly, Alexander Walton. But it's just a bit touch and go, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised Walton's come in the pits. I didn't expect to see people stopping this early. We're 20 minutes in. And I thought they would extend this first stint a little bit longer. There's that cone you were talking about, getting another smack as they come into this chicane.
It's just so close together, isn't it?
Very close, yeah, so close. And look at this, Texero coming through. Move out the way.
There is a song about that, but I'm not going to sing it. That's Jacob Money on the money down the inside. Thanks very much. Wow.
Yeah,
because they've been laughing all
the
way to the...
Oh, there's contact. He's round. That's going to be, well, I say that's going to be annoying. Money's still kept the position. He's taken the lead of the amateur class as he passed Ibram there with a bit of help from Texero, who just kind of drove into the back of him and spun himself around.
Yeah, it's just one of those moments you have to slam on the brakes and correct it. But yeah, Jacob Money, you could say, laughing all the way to the bank. So he's now at the head of that class, and I'm sure very, very happy about it. Either way, still your race leader, Gustas Grimbergas. Fantastic job at the minute. Really strong performance. 3.9 seconds ahead of our original pole sitter, Paulo Munoz.
That does mean that gap has closed down by 6 tenths over the last lap or so, which means you would say that Munoz flying, catching him up.
Yeah, that's true. We know he's got the pace, don't we, from the earlier qualifying session. So our Lithuanian race leader. It's a very international grid as well. I do want to point that out, everybody. Honestly, we have the Lithuanian Gustas Grimbergas. We then have the Chilean Paulo Munoz. Then we have Burkhard Maring from Germany, Molnar Peter from Hungary, Dan Kraft from the United Kingdom, Ramez Azam from Canada, Bart Horston, the Australian, 2 Spaniards, Jose Buizan and Alvaro Melendez. I believe it's Romanian, I might be wrong, Roberto Edward. I think it's, is it Moldovan? Not sure, sorry. I'm usually good with flags. Nathan Moore from the UK, we've got Brazilian drivers, but we've also got a pit party here because these cars do very short stints, and to be fair, with how long they're flat out, they're all going to be pitting the same lap pretty much all of the time.
They're all pitting already. And I'm not sure the fuel loads they had when they started, but if they were on full tanks, then we're going to see a whole mess of pit stops throughout this 2-hour race, because we're only 25 minutes in, and that's a majority of the field all coming in on this lap.
Yeah, we usually do have around 40 minutes for a tank in these cars on other circuits, but of course, with how much they are flat out here, we're going to see a very different kettle of fish. Now, of course, we've had Maxime Brienne and Alexander Walton, who are the 2 highest placed drivers that have pitted so far, and Simsa have corrected me, it is Romania. I just know that on certain platforms the Romanian flag has the crest in the middle, so I often get it confused. But Maxime and Alexander, they're out of sync here, and whether that puts them in a good place to the end, we're not going to be sure yet, but they both had incidents early on, so I don't think they're going to gain or lose too much from it. But Maxime has now got cars coming out in front of him here. That is Alvaro Melendez, who he goes down the inside of, wastes no time whatsoever. Oh, well, Melendez wastes no time in rotating it, unfortunately. That's a shame.
That's so frustrating as well. He would have just come out the pits and the rear end's gone round, maybe just not used to the new tyre. Well, I don't even know if he put tyres. I doubt he did with 25 minutes. But yeah, maybe the tyres cooled down too much and the rear end just getting a little bit light underneath him.
Yeah, I'll try the weather graphic, and yeah, much to my surprise, not. I haven't set it up on here because it got added after that. But either way, it's 19 degrees track temperature. So it's still not the warmest of places to be, but it is getting lighter and lighter. I still can't believe we're 25 minutes in, though. It has flown by, as it always does here at Le Mans. But this is Bart Horston. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, interestingly, we were talking about strategy all playing a part, and I'm not sure if this was maybe just a slow pit stop entry or overshooting the box, but Munoz back down to third, and Peter, Impulse Racing, now up to second after the pit stops with a little bit of a gap. So maybe taking less fuel or just a better pit stop overall from the guys.
Yeah, 21.9 seconds for Molnar Peter and 23.7. To be fair, Gustus Grimbergus was 24.4 seconds. So too was Burkhard Maring a little bit further back. So a nice variation, a spread of pit stop times, which is always nice to see. But either way, it adds to the spice of racing, as we often describe. Now looking further down the order, it's close between Drew Lloyd and Fernando Teixeira. And both of these guys have actually had a spin at this chicane. Drew Lloyd got some help. Fernando, you could say, got some help, but he kind of drove into the car in front of him, didn't he? They both had a bit of mixed fortune.
He did, yeah. Not a good chicane for either of those two today. Maxime Briand currently in 9th place now that everyone's pit, so he's right back up there. Look at these two. So Teixeira going up the inside, he's easily done before they're even in the braking zone. Dangerous corner, like you said. We've seen someone go off there already by himself. Oh, there goes another one. Just straight on.
Walton.
It is Walton, yeah. He's having an absolute nightmare. Just outbroke himself. Maybe broke a little bit too late. Does he lock up at all?
It's too hot.
Just understeers, yeah. Too hot into the wall. Another bit of damage. And, yeah, not a great day for Walton.
No, I'm intrigued to see what the speed's like in a straight line as well. Obviously 300 Ks down here. So it's not too bad then. It's not really hurt it. 318, nearly 320 Ks into the right-hander before Indianapolis. So he's not doing too badly, at least. It doesn't visually look like the car's that damaged anyway. Maybe a tiny bit crumpled. Not even that by the look of it. I think he might have got away with that there, to be honest, which is very good for him. Something that isn't good is series admin EJ Fielner having an issue, unfortunately. May not
Same
be quite.
Corner.
Yeah, might not quite be the number 13, but 113 still unlucky for him. Kevin Ibe has also had an off. What's happened here, Jack?
So he's come through the chicane. Too much curb, sends it round. So very low cars. You don't want to be taking that much curb at all. You could see it just bounce over that, and then he's probably still got a bit of throttle on as he's bounced over it. Bit of wheel spin and lost of traction, and around he goes.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Like you say, you don't want to unsettle the car. You don't want to hit anything too hard in these things because they're actually a relatively long wheelbase as well. That's still what amazes me about how quickly these things change direction. The wheelbase in these cars, they are big bits of kit. Nobody really realises, from people I've spoken to anyway, they don't really realise how big LMP3 cars are. We saw one at the Autosport International show a few years ago, and they were like, I thought they were like half the size of that. They were like, I thought this was like a prototype of something from the future, but no, they are very, very long pieces of kit. But
yeah, it's incredibly deceiving as well because obviously they're single seater effectively. You've got that one seat in the middle of the car. It's like a little rocket ship inside. But like you say, in real life, quite wide and quite a lot longer than they look on TV or right now on the game. But
sounds like
Munoz
me.
back up into Munoz back up into P2. Gap now 2.5 seconds. So Grimbergus not running away with this.
no, he's not going to be grinning, is he? At this rate, he'll be wanting to. I'm sorry, Gustas. He'll be wanting to just get away.
He'll be wanting to get to that finish line as soon as he can
I
and
know.
grab himself a nice burger.
I was going to say it, and I thought I was just going to apologise to him. Don't go there, Chaz. But there we go. That is just proof there that we're going to get on just fine, mate. Either way, Molnar Peter just behind Paolo Munoz here. Dan Kraft's still up there as well, and he is certainly honing his craft at the moment. Dan has always been quick. Ex-teammate of mine as well in a few leagues here and there, and a very capable driver, especially in this P2 car. But, I mean, he started 10th, really. He's been a bit under the radar so far, hasn't he? He's gained a few spots, but he's done it very, very silently.
Very crafty.
Yes.
No, yeah, but no, you're right. Up 6 places, up into 4th. But Horston, another one, up 5 places, up into 6th, so not far behind. He's chasing down Mehring at the moment, just a small way behind these guys that we're watching on screen. So this freeway battle, this has been quite tight. These guys maybe working together. They're not being too aggressive with each other. Yeah, they're making moves every now and then, but it doesn't seem to be silly sort of side-by-side battling where they're going to lose time. So maybe working together slightly to get away from 5th place, but also try and close up to Grimbergus in the lead.
Yeah, they've all got the pace to do it, but like I say, it's just the level playing field of the slipstream around here just keeps these battles all glued together, and it keeps it entertaining for us, I suppose. This is Rodrigo Lazowski with Ivo Lobsha, who's gained 17 places now. What a drive from him. And then Kamal Hashimi just behind in the Apex Tech Racing Machine. It looks like it's going to be 18 for Ivo Lobsha anytime soon if he keeps the pressure on like he's doing here. And he is positively flying.
Yeah, one thing I found with these cars, we saw a puff of smoke there as the red car locked up into that corner. Once that tyre just locks up slightly, it's really hard to save any sort of line or speed through the corner. Like once it's even just a tiny, that's it. You're offline, and you need to really try. He's done well actually not to lose a position there because he did lock up into that right-hander.
It's Arnage, it's the worst corner in the world. But in fairness, you know, sound effect and all, you're right. It is so easy to lock up in these cars. As soon as you have any tiny bit of lock on, it's like the car just goes into a bit of a nervous breakdown and just says, "No, I can't do it," and then just decides to go straight on instead. But yeah, they are sensitive little things, or sensitive big things, based on what I was saying about them not long ago. But still, fantastic pace, awesome to watch. Jacob Money, still top of the pile in the AM class at the minute. Kamal Hashimi, who we were looking at not long ago, is second in that class, and it's James Ibram and Will Money, third and fourth, with the rest of the AM drivers behind. Jansho Oval is in the middle of all of that, one of the pro class drivers there. Timo Hayden is unfortunately out of the race. Now, I noticed Timo was out, but I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Dan Kraft has had an issue, though, and he's now dropped down to 7th. That's a very slow burner of a commentator's curse, and it's, Tete Rouge. Oh, and in the wall.
Yeah, in the wall as well. So, yeah, just carried a bit too much speed, came in hot, and that rear end, because they're so long, as we've been saying, once the rear end swings round, it's just a big pendulum, and he's out. Timo Hayden, like you said, seen him in chat. I think I might have seen him say something about a hardware issue. I could be wrong. I'm sure he'll pop up and say. But, yeah, he's been out of the race for a little while now. I was going to say, I was focusing on someone and I've lost it now. I don't know if you can get up the pit stops, Chaz, on the timing screen, but Lobsha is now 17 places up and in 15th place, 14th place in his class. But I'm not sure if he's stopped yet or not.
He has, yeah. 24.9 seconds on lap 7, just as everyone else did, but his entire pit lane time was a lot less than Rodrigo Lazowski in front of him, because Rodrigo was in his box for 36 seconds. So, not quite sure what's gone on there. But it's a real shame to have Timo Hayden out of the race. And I noticed he was quick early on. He has said in chat he can tell us, so hopefully he does give us the reason. But either way, it's a shame not to still have him out there on track. But your race leader, still doing everything right at the moment, though, is Gustas, and it's a difficult circuit to lead at, isn't it? Because there's so many places to get it wrong. And when you're under the pressure of leading a race, not that I really know, and I've not got much experience of it, it can just get to your head when you're out on your own, because you've not got a reference, you've not got another car to compare to, really, have you? All you've got is your relative box to just watch the numbers.
No, but sometimes, and some of these drivers will find it, they sort of go into a bit of a trance if he's got a bit of a gap, and he will be noticing it come down a little bit at a time. But he'll be in a kind of a cruise control mode in a way, because he hasn't got any pressure really from behind yet. Not saying it's easy for him. Yes, he'll be pushing and trying to extend that gap, but all he's doing is watching those guys. He'll probably start feeling it maybe around, I reckon, 1 second, 1.5 seconds, he's going to start feeling that pressure a bit more.
Well, Timo's given us his verdict. Still not quite sure if we have it on replay, unfortunately, but yeah, it was an incident, which is the only way I'm going to word it, that took him out of the race. We'll try and find it, but for now, we do have it actually. Here you go. So, oh heck! Wow. Okay, so, you know, in fairness, I'd say that his description was correct. Was that bump drafting causing that? Yeah, they're moving around on the back of each other, aren't they? That was the number 66 of Ramez Azam. How Ramez didn't get involved in that? There's a bit of netcode involved. But
yeah, that's not looking great. I mean, it definitely wasn't malicious. It wasn't on purpose. It just looked like they were trying that bump draft trick that we've seen them do. And Timo's been caught up in a hell of an accident there. That's just
clumsy,
Yeah.
I think is the word for it, in all
Yeah. honesty.
You know, I don't pull punches when I see driving that I don't think is brilliant, but yeah, I think the word is clumsy, and it's a shame, that is, to be fair, Timo. Real shame, but fingers crossed. You know, there's still one round of the championship to go, and we hope it goes better for you there. Now, here is one of the Simsa cars, Roberto Edouard. Just behind him, hiding there, is Nathan Moore, a name I haven't actually had a chance to see in the Pure Sims Camp 4. Hopefully I'll see more of him. But, you know, he's on the pace at the minute. 24 seconds off the lead, but at the end of the day, it does spread out a hell of a lot here at Le Mans. And then in other ways, you know, the cars sort of magnetise together. It's a weird one, because you can tell people it spreads out, which it does, but then you can tell people it stays together, which it does. So makes life easy for us as commentators, because it means that we can actually get something right for once.
That's right, yeah. Now that they're not all in one big train, we can start seeing the little pairs of battles. And like I said earlier, there goes another cone. But like I said earlier, they're going to start working together at this stage. I think they're not going to battle each other too hard when they're in little pairs like this. They're just going to be like, okay, you lead the way, and if they do have a run, they'll probably back out of the move and then just follow them through until they get the run, sort of in a reverse order. The gap now, Munoz, 1.1 seconds behind Grimbergus.
Even less than that now, 0.8. It's crazy. He's really, really going with him.
Yeah, now he's going to feel the pressure. This is where cruise control turns off, starts panicking, mistakes might creep in. It depends how close Munoz can get to the back of that car. And yeah, we are just past, not far past the 25% mark of this race. So Grimbergus definitely going to feel it from now.
Yeah, that's the moment where, like you say, the cruise control is very much off now. He needs to just take every corner as it comes. Bit of bloom there from the light coming up. They call it happy hour at Le Mans when the sun rises, because you've got obviously a cool circuit from the night, but you've got the visibility of the daytime and still cool air that helps the cars. Look at the drift around there from Paulo Munoz. That was unbelievable.
He's throwing it through that section. Unreal. Let's stay on board with him through here, because let's see how much he's...
Oh!
Very bouncy over the curves. Left, right. And I don't think... This is why he was getting slowdowns earlier. He's got one. There's the other one. Oh, such a shame. He's going to claw that back. He's done this, what, 3 times? 3 times now.
Yeah.
And he's found himself back up fighting for the lead. He's done it again. So maybe Munoz feeling the pressure as Brienne comes into the pits again.
Yeah, Brienne, by the way, made it up to 8th place. So it's working for him at the minute. It's like a slight undercut, but it's a sort of forced undercut. But either way, we're going to eventually find out how out of sync he is. So looks like he's only about 5 minutes ahead of the pit window, to be fair. But it's intriguing to know, because say, you know, a pit window is about 25 minutes around here. Say we get 25 minutes from the end of the race and Brienne has pitted with half an hour to go. He's going to have to do a splash and dash, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate actually, because when the crash happened, like you said, it's about 5 minutes ahead of the pit window. So he's now going to constantly be that 5 minutes out of place, unless he can do some sort of fuel saving method mid-race, mid-stint towards the end, like you say. You need to avoid a splash and dash if you can, because the pit lane's quite long and quite slow.
Yeah, that's it. It is a very, very slow pit lane here. Even though it's not the longest in the world, it still feels painful because of the way in. It's just,
yes,
it really is a painful one. And look at this now for the lead. Grimbergus has been caught by Molnar Peter for Simsa Esports, who goes through. Sorry, no, that's Grimbergus, sorry, for Simsa Esports. Peter for Impulse.
Just defended that. It looked like he moved left to defend the inside of the corner, but at the same time, he's just trying to break the slipstream. But Peter, not really falling for it, just kept his line. Grimbergus cut back across him, and now, I mean, smart driving really from Peter there. He's still right behind him, and he's got another attempt when it presents itself.
Yeah, he'll be hoping that it presents itself, but obviously with the slipstream down here, It's quite easy to get in it. Paulo Munoz.
I was just about to say, look who's still right in the battle, 5 tenths behind.
He don't give one, does he, Paulo Munoz? He's been great because, you know, there is a song about it, but every time he gets knocked down, he gets back up again, and he just cracks on with it. So fair play to Paulo Munoz. His determination is really, really brilliant. And TSC Design Centre is not ready for Twitter yet. Trust me, I'm ready for Twitter. My sick sense of humour and my thick skin certainly helps on Twitter. But either way, thick skin from Paulo Munoz at the moment to hold on to this car as he slides it around as much as he does. And I'm pretty sure that Paulo races on a direct drive wheel as well, so he must have forearms like Sergio Aguero's thighs. Or no, it's his calves, isn't it? He must be a strong boy, as they are known. But wow, brilliant skill so far from Paulo. Obviously put it on pole. He wants to take that win, and of course he wants to prove our very own Jack Johns correct in his first broadcast with us, because it's not often that a commentator picks a race winner and gets it right. So if you can do that, mate, you're here to stay for a very, very long time, and there's no escape. But a good battle, nice sunrise. They told us it looked good. Oh, that didn't look good for Molnar Peter. Runs wide, gets caught up behind Grimbergus. Munoz up to second. How long before he gets to first?
Oh, it looks like he has the run here, but Grimbergus defending the inside of this section. This is not a passing place, but it is a place to get your fourth slow down, Munoz. So take it easy. Yeah, that looks nice and safe. So he's not going to slow down here. Maybe down the Mulsanne straight.
I'm not sure if our camera will get close enough to it to look anywhere anytime soon, but oh, there's a car around in front.
Yeah, big bit of smoke up there into turn 2.
Yeah, not sure who that was, but it was a bit naughty. Maybe a bit of a put off. But Paulo Munoz's lid is a crash test dummy lid. It's white with all the pickup target points on it, and the black striping on the, you can just about catch it there, the black and yellow checkers on the visor strip. So I mean, he's glutton for punishment if he has that, really, but either way he's showing that he's not just a crash test dummy at the moment. He's certainly a very talented driver as he catches back up with Gustav Grimbergus.
He's going to go around the outside of the chicane here. He had a mega run through the fast right-hander. It looks like he's committed to this. He's going to try and hold it around the outside. No, look, Grimbergus really good at holding his position. He's no slouch leading this race, fully defending his positions, and quite cleanly as well. It's like he's not really doing anything wrong. Munoz still within reach, but not happening this time round.
No, that's very true. He's still pushing. He's still trying to make it work.
You can see Peter there lifted actually off the back, so he doesn't want this position yet. He's quite happy sitting in third and just watching what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's... Oh, it looks like he lost a bit of pace through there. He just doesn't look like he's closing that much at the minute, but it can be a bit deceiving from camera angles like that, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure he wants to. So he's now in that position that Grimbergus was in. He's got 4.5 seconds to the car behind. He's quite happy, I think, just sitting there at this point. It would be the smart thing to do, just to watch those two fight it out for the lead and then maybe present itself. Maybe he's a bit shook from that mistake he made from the S's, because that was quite a fast slide and he did well to hold that.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're going a bit quicker, it's easy to overcorrect it, isn't it, and just outdo yourself a bit, because you know the car can snap one way then the other. Behind this, although I don't really want to look away from this at the moment, Munoz tries to get around the outside. Grimbergus holds on again, but Burkhard Maring is only just ahead of Bart Horston here. He's having a good race of his own. 6 places gained. You know, to be fair, there's only one car in the top 10 that has lost a place, and there's only one car in the top 10 that is currently where he started. And that's Nathan Moore that has stayed where he started. Paulo Munoz has lost a place. Everyone else has gained 3 places or more. But look at Ivo Lobsha, 21 spots gained up to 11th. What a drive.
I'm really impressed with this guy. He's just keeping his head cool. He hasn't made any mistakes. Yes, at first he'd gained a majority of the positions from amateur class, but there's no excuse now. He's still climbing through pit stop phases and through his own class. So up into 11th place, and I doubt this is the end for him. He's going to keep it going.
He's doing a great job. Really, really great job. We've got moves happening further back. Roy Maas and Ramez down the inside. Stream has seemed to died for a moment. we are back. There we go. Apologies for that, everybody. Just a quick drop out there. Not quite sure what caused that, but we'll make sure that it doesn't happen again. You all know what my Wi-Fi is like right now. Well, by now, I should say. But we only have, like you say, just a couple of cars in the pits. Alexander Walton on his way in, but it must be painful to know that Munoz has already left the pit lane, despite pitting on the same lap. That's a bit of a painful moment, isn't it, really?
Yeah, Walton's going to be in a race on his own. He probably feels quite lonely out there. He's lost, well, I can't say how many positions he's lost because he'll still be going down the order whilst he's sat in the pits. But yeah, not a great day for Walton, as we've said. Briant trying to make the most of it. Like you said, he needs to score just 1 point, and he's ahead of Alexander Walton. And then it's looking like he could sew this up today. I think last time I said that anything can happen. Let's stay tuned and not call it now. He crashed. So again, let's see what happens. It's not all over.
No, certainly not. Of course, his championship rival Maxime Briant currently 19th place, so he's going to get the championship points that he needs to wrap up the title. But as we saw, it was only a couple of laps in. Massive incident, and of course an issue for Walton. Anything can happen in motorsport, and it quite often does. Grimbergus still leads the race. The closest two cars we have on track are actually Maxime Briant and Roy Mars just in front in the CCTS eSports machine. But if we look back from Roy Mars, you'll see that, well, Maxime looks further away than he is, but he is going to be closing and closing and closing. It's 0.4 of a second. By the time they get onto the brakes of the chicane, it is 0.3 of a second, less than that. Although Maxime actually brakes a bit early just to play it safe, launches an attack into the chicane, closes in a lot, and now down towards Mulsanne corner. You've got to think he's going to get it done here.
Yeah, it's looking close. I don't know if he's just going to play it smart now and just try and keep his nose clean. I mean, it wasn't his fault earlier. I'm not saying he wasn't playing it smart, but I mean, look at this. He's closing right up now, right onto the back of him. But nah, sits behind him and waits for another go.
Maybe now it's down to the fact that we've, of course, got the fastest part of the circuit here.
Yeah, he's flashing his lights, so he's letting him know he wants to get past. So is he going to let him pass? There was a bit of a wiggle there. I don't know if that was the international signal for, yeah, sure, come on by, go around my outside. But, yeah, look, there he goes. Round the outside, and I think that's done.
Easy stuff for Maxime Briant. Nice and level, though. You know, he wasn't pushing the issue too much. He wasn't ruining Roy's race, as we got our top three in the pits. So that now begs the question, where is the very fast Paulo Munoz going to come out? Or where is he going to see them come out? Where are they going to rejoin in comparison? Get your words out, Chaz. Put your teeth in. Nathan Moore, by the look of it, is doing more laps than everybody else. He's stayed out again. So he's not, if it wasn't a boat, you could say he hasn't felt the need to moor at the moment. But he takes the race lead temporarily, and hopefully there'll be no more of those puns.
Yeah, there we go. That last one was better. Yeah, no, like you said, interesting where Munoz is going to come out here, because I don't think he came out in slipstream, and all those other guys had an extra lap or two with it, still in the train. So Munoz may be losing out here, but he's climbing the order. He's coming down the straight. Where is he?
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
Wrong car. That was Nathan Moore.
Wrong car.
Brilliant stuff, Chaz. He's right behind Greenberg.
Yeah, there he is. So he's still in the top three. Munoz, well, top four. He's in fourth place at the moment. Nathan Moore still in the lead, obviously not pitted yet. But net third. Grimbergus in second. So Peter up into the lead of this race. Molnar Peter after the pit stops.
And of course the sun, Paolo sideways there, the sun very bright in the eyes of the drivers there as well. Big glint from the sunlight as they went towards it. But
he really chucked that car around, doesn't he, Munoz? It always looks like it's out of shape. But yet the pace is there, and he's not, apart from the slowdowns, he's not really making any mistakes.
You've got to think as well, what will it be doing to the tyres if he's got that much slip on it? You know, if the car is that out of shape. We'll watch him through the chicane. I mean, he almost had the steering straight there as it turned into the right. Bit of correction there. Not so much on the apex, but he's putting in minuscule amounts of steering input. So that car is very pointy at the front end. Very loose on the rear end. Nathan Moore still way ahead. Molnar Peter still second place. But of course, net first, really, when you think about the pit stop times. And they're 25 seconds behind Nathan Moore. Whole pit lane time is about a minute. So Nathan will be, well, based on where these guys are, it'll be top 10.
Yeah, maybe around sort of Melendez, maybe even between Melendez and Loeb show he might come out, but we'll see. We would assume that he's going to pit on this lap.
Usually wrongly because we're commentators. But either way, it's always the enticing bit. Seeing where they come back out. Peter goes sideways into Mulsanne corner. Grimbergus, well, he has a grin on his face. Straight through, thank you very much. Now what can Munoz do here? He's going to slot in second. Yeah. Oh, it's getting feisty, but of course, Molnar Peter's got the slipstream again, so he's just going to catch back up with him. There's contact, and Grimbergus is in the wall, and Molnar Peter's off as well.
They're both round. That's Grimbergus and Peter round. That's Peter really in an unlucky place there. That was nothing to do with him, and he looks like he's got major damage. Wouldn't be surprised if they both do, but Munoz is now going to have the lead all to himself. I'm not sure who to... Grimbergus just kind of shot left into Munoz after he started passing. That was an interesting move, and then, Peter just collected from the bounce back.
Yeah,
that's it, Chaz. Slow it down and have a look.
Munoz goes left, and if you compare it to where they are compared to the lines, look, Grimbergus does go over a little bit, but I don't think he quite realised that Munoz had stopped that much. Now watch the net code here from Grimbergus.
Yeah, massive, massive.
But that's just because of obviously how quick it was travelling. When you do have those very, very fast changes of direction, it affects the cars so much. But Molnar Peter just scraping his way down the barrier.
Yeah,
he was lucky not to.
Right wheel looks real. Right, I think that's
it's gone. Isn't it? He was lucky not to bounce off that barrier a bit harder and come back into the middle of the road. But through unfortunate circumstances, Paulo Munoz leads the race. Nathan Moore in the pit lane, but that will go down, to quote David Addison, like a cup of cold sick, really, because that was not the way you want a lead battle like that to go. And of course, Gustin, I've done that twice now. Gustas Grimbergus, I'm fishing for puns here on a poor man's name. Not
you Munoz find any more puns. There you go.
There you go. I'm not calling Gustas a poor man, by the way. I mean, you know what I mean. And I'm just the poor guy. He's just having a race, and Chaz is up here making jokes about his name, and that's not fair, especially after the incident he's just had as well. He'll be absolutely fuming. Anyway, Roberto Edouard has got Jose Buizan right up behind him. Jose, another driver that's been very exciting to watch this season for Iridium Motorsports. And to be fair, Roberto Edouard wants to be rid of him, doesn't he? It's terrible. It's terrible.
That seems what you did there.
Right then, let's look at something else quick. Kamil Hashimi, he's not made a hash of this one at the moment. He's leading his class in the 137 machine in the Apex Tech racing car. I'm not sure whether he has to pit yet. Yes, actually. No, he pitted on lap 14, same as everyone around him did. So what has happened to our previous class leaders? Will Money has had a 46-second pit stop. Jacob Money's had a 44-second pit stop. So I'm wondering, have those guys taken tyres?
Yeah, potentially. Jacob Money was in the lead, like you said. Big bit of smoke there. Oh, who's that's gone off? The black and gold car. I haven't seen that one much. That's Andy Spicer.
Having a spicy moment.
He's still off. Look, he's driving on the grass, just cutting it. It was a bit long in that section.
Yeah, he's off in the herbs.
Yeah. Interesting livery, that one. Haven't seen that one much. Gold wheels, still bouncing over the curbs. Fast racing.
I had to try and argue the case today to my my girlfriend that gold wheels are just cool. There's nothing cool about that. Way off. They're a little bit too shiny for my liking. They need to be like a brushed aluminium sort of texture, but gold wheels are cool. I'm sorry. You may disagree, you may not. Gold wheels are just cool.
Approaching the halfway mark now, Chaz, and I'm still not too sure on who my favourite livery is.
I was hoping you were going to say something like that. I'm just still not too sure on what I'm looking at. But to be fair, neither am I half the time. The livery contest is a good one. Maxime Brient's spec map is very tasty on that Movano car. Lovely bit of sort of satin metallic grey. Bit of blue tint on it as well to go with the Mivano Red, of course, their cars used to always just be black and red, but they've got this wonderful new look on their car. Pure Sim's car is very uniform. You know, it's got the nice jagged shapes and different bits down the side. I don't think it's quite as suited to this car in comparison. You know, Paolo Munoz is definitely suited to this car, isn't he? Flipping heck.
Yeah.
Oh, the Simsa
really
car
knows how to control that rear end, Paolo.
I bet he does. Ramez Azam, the Simsa car, to be fair, is actually quite an interesting one because it's just got the normal glossy spec map on it. The orange, the metallic effect is actually painted onto the car in the livery. So it's similar to the Altus Esports cars where the orange sort of metallic effect is painted in. It's not actually part of the spec map. So I massively respect that. The Iridium cars are always nice and bold, but I'm sorry guys, but I don't like that shade of blue. I think it's either got to be one of the Positively Racing cars just because it's so in your face and it is so garish it just works.
Yeah, I was leaning towards this one. It is just that unique colour scheme. Not much sort of chrome or matte on it, but at the same time the colours, the way they sort of blend with each other, or not in that case, it's really and stand out.
Here he is. I was looking for this one. So Manuel Winans in the Stage 1 racing car. Now, I commentate on a team called Fiercely Forward that have yellow and black matte cars with a big lion on the side, and it looks incredibly similar to this car. I'm not saying anyone has copied anyone, but it does work. It does look very good. I think I do have to say, though, my favourite livery is this one. The Exothermic Racing entry with that wonderful metallic blue down the middle. James Ibrahim is actually in a battle at the moment, or kind of. Iridium say their heart just broke. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of your work, though. Anyway, I'll move quickly on to get myself out of trouble. Gustas Grimberges is trying to get himself out of trouble and gain some more places here, but you've got to be so gutted for what happened there. But we've spoken about it before, haven't we? You know, it's quick movements in these cars. You don't get long to relax, You don't get any time to relax. You don't get any time to react. And it can cause incidents just like we saw there. The tiniest of touches, and it's just a massive incident.
Yeah, like I said, the speeds they're going as well, it's really minimal reaction time. I think it's probably quite difficult to see sort of in your mirrors as well at the speeds they're going, and he was kind of just there, and it was just that slight touch, but at that speed it was enough to take Grimberges and who was it Peter that he
Molnar
contact with?
Peter.
Yeah, it was enough to take both of them out of the race. But Munoz, the big winner in it all, 7.5 seconds in the lead as we approach the halfway mark.
Yeah, I can't believe we're nearly an hour of the way through the race already. Either way, Paolo won't care. He's just thinking, right, well, that was a shame. Let's crack on. Maxime Brient and Ramez Azam. I've been getting Paul Ramez's name wrong all season. Sorry, mate. But Maxime Brient, you know, he's climbed up well here. I mean, he's back into 4th place. It's been a monumental comeback, but he's still... Well, I say he's out of sync, you know. He's only 1 lap out of sync now with the pit stops. He pitted on lap 11. The car behind pitted on lap 12. Car ahead on lap 14. So, while the time may be quite different, because it's 3.5 minutes a lap as we hit the halfway mark, he's got himself more in sync than you would have thought based on his incident earlier.
Yeah, that's right. If you look at Azam, just one lap difference. So, like you said, 3-4 minutes. The leader, lap 13, he pitted Munoz. So, 2 laps difference, 6 minutes. We're talking minimal margins here, and that's, to be fair, 1-2 laps is fuel saving range. So, definitely, he's still in this race. It's unbelievable with the accident that he had.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, he smacked into the wall. It was a big old hit, and then to get that repaired, I'm pretty sure they do get a fast repair, but I mean, from what we've seen from Molnar Peter, I don't think they do. It's conflict really in my head of whether they do or not, because obviously Maxime's car got fixed quite quickly and he got straight back out there, but Molnar Peter's been in the pits since, maybe just out of pure frustration. You know, you never know. I mean, it's very easy to get knocked out of a race like that and just think, oh, stuff it, I'm done. Some people don't always have things like that ticked. If you're wondering what we mean, you have like a little window in the bottom right in iRacing where you manage the car, manage your systems and so on, and you can tick or untick a box of whether you replace your tyres or take a fast repair or even a windscreen tear off in certain cars. And if you don't have that ticked, if you tick it, it doesn't make the fast repair come on instantly. If it's already started repairing the car the long way, then you have to wait the full time. So, wondering whether that's happened. Burkhard Maring is also out of the race. He's been in the pits for 2.5 minutes and is down in 34th place. I didn't really see what happened to him. We've had a few cars go off, though, unfortunately, Jack. We've had Lee Tucker, the first of the ones to watch. Oh, how many cars have you seen do that?
Yeah, easily done. That's an interesting livery there. Here's the positively charged Jacob Money.
Oh.
Oh,
It's not the Porsche straight.
No, he's going to get back on there. Yeah, no problems. But yeah, that would have been a scary moment as he drove towards that wall. Lee Tucker, Apex Tech Racing.
Yeah.
Ramez Azam into the chicane.
Yeah, Ramez now.
So he's in 5th at the moment.
He's lost out to Briant there. Briant is just cleared off. This man is on a mission, not just this season, but in this race. He's really flying. He's got Dan Kraft 1.6 seconds ahead of him. And Dan, I mean, he had his own issue before, granted, but he didn't have a full-blown crash like Maxime had, did he? I mean, what a drive. How is he doing this? I mean, you could say he's out of sync with the pit stops, but he's not. It's just mad.
Yeah, he is. He's racing for position. He's absolutely. He's a pure example of at the moment of not giving up. So he's really pushing. We're halfway through. He hasn't given up. He's in 4th place. He's chasing down Kraft, which you'd have to say he is closing that gap, and that move will be done within the next couple of laps. But then it's just going to be one after the other. You can see Bart Horston up the road. He's not far either. So that's 2nd place, and then it's onwards if he's got the pace. Let me just have a look at lap times at the moment. So 3:27.8 was the last lap. Only 200ths quicker than Munoz, but he is quicker than the cars ahead. Kraft actually did a 3:27.8.
Yeah, he was quick last time round, wasn't he? But only a little bit quicker than Briant. But now Briant has cleared Ramez Azam. He's just flying up to the back of him. A bit further back, we've got this going on. Nathan Moore chasing down Jose Buizan and Roberto Edouard. Nathan Moore's only gained 1 place in this race, but Jose Buizan's gained 5. Roberto Edouard has gained 7. Can I just say as well, Bart Horston, of course, real-life Formula 4 and Formula 3 experience for Bart Horston. He's actually gained 9 places in this race so far, and he's doing a wonderful, wonderful job for Iridium Motorsports. We spoke to Bart after the Silverstone race, and he is a real top lad. Really full of energy and just great to speak to. So hopefully, if he gets a podium today, we can speak to him again. But at the moment, he's doing everything right. And so too is Kamal Hashimi. It's behind the trees there somewhere. He's leading his class, and he's gained 4 spots to get there, but it looks like a lot of them further back have really struggled. Although Dion Neuveld, he's gained 18 places, because don't forget, he was stationary for all of qualifying, wasn't he?
Yeah, you've just reminded me. I know earlier on I had a blank moment and forgot who I was going to say. It was Dion Neuveld. He's been on a charge for a while. He's 18 places. It's massive. Really quiet one in this race. But just slowly picking his way through. Is this an incident here? Someone looked slow off of that corner. That's Young in the 141 car. And is that Money that's just gone through? Oh, it's Ibram, sorry. James Ibram just gone through up into 8th place in class. But they're still side by side here.
Yeah, they've had a bit of a
Young's
battle.
actually going to have, he's going to have the inside into this. He's not letting it go. Oh, it's going to be tight through there, boys. Oh, that was brave. Young just turning in, getting that corner down. Ibram maybe lifting off and thinking better of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I was Ibram in that place there, I would have thought, nah, you're all right, mate. If you're that committed, off you go. I'll see you in a bit. But, yeah, James Ibram not having the smoothest of races. Started from pole position in class, and I'm afraid it's not gone all swimmingly for him. There was a good battle going on here, though, actually. It was Justin Young who was trying to get past him, so he's made the move stick. They swapped a few places down into Alenage, worst corner in the world. Stayed side by side, but yeah, it looked like the two of them on different lines around there. I mean, it's a struggle at the best of times, is Arnage, but yeah, not the easiest of places to go side by side, really.
Yeah, looking at that, if it was Young making the move from the beginning, then Ibram definitely would have just backed out of it and said, you know what, you've earned it. They were side by side for loads of corners there. Jacob Money is currently in P2, but like we said, he might have taken tyres there. Doesn't look like at the moment he's getting any gains from those fresh tyres compared to Kamal, who's in the lead of the amateur class. So we're looking at Edouard here, sorry. being chased down by the 53 of Boysan. Still really close between these two. Slipstream not really working its wonders yet. No one making any feisty moves, but that is Nathan Moore closing down this battle and looking to join in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. With all the slipstream that you get around here, you can just sort of, if you get close enough in the twisty bits to see a battle ahead of you, you can just gradually creep up as Jose Buizan through on the right-hand side, dives out very aggressively, looks down the inside, beautiful shot, nearly contact, through he goes. Oh, Roberto Edouard later on the brakes though. We've got Jack making all sorts of noises. You can tell he's invested in this. But wow, it's lively stuff, isn't it?
It's such a fast section of the track to make a move, and we've seen a few people get it wrong already down that straight, and those two getting it right, but getting extremely close. Like we've mentioned many times, the speed they're going through there, any slightest millimetre out of line, and you're off if someone's out the race, if not both of you.
Yeah, indeed. We saw two cars, of course, off earlier from the tiniest of movements as wide goes Roberto Edouard, nearly contact with Jose Buizan. Maxime Brent back in the pits, same two as Ramez Azam. So there is confirmation that Maxime has got himself back in sync with some of the other drivers out there on the circuit. But Nathan Moore, he's getting closer and closer to the back of this fight, so he's looking more and more involved, you could say. But Roberto,
he pick his moment, doesn't he, Nathan? He's right on the back of this group, and if as soon as maybe Edouard makes a move on Boysan, then that might go wrong, and then Nathan's up 2 places.
It's very true. Roberto looking pretty aggressive at the minute, but he's making his intentions clear. I mean, you'd be a fool not to think that Roberto wants to make that move sooner rather than later on Jose Buizan. But Jose doing his best to hold on at the minute. They've both gained 8 places in this race outright. Alvaro Melendez has gained 9. Ivo Lobscher is up 20 in 11th. Sorry, yeah, well now 22 places into 10th as he goes past Briant and Azam in the pits. There's a 3 minutes 30.1, not the fastest lap of the race. We had a purple sector on that last lap from Maxime Briant as well. So he has still got fastest lap of the race pace. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, look at these three. They're so close. Maxime Briant's come out the pits now, so he's down in 11th. But like you said, he's back in sync as we see Edouard now moving over side by side. They love squeezing each other around here. It's just so, there's a thin line between brave and stupid, and at the moment, it's brave.
I can't wait till we call them stupid live on air. But Jose Buizan chasing down the very brave Roberto Edouard, and he's actually closer to Roberto than Nathan is to him, so we don't need to look back, we need to keep moving forward. So fast down the straight here. Oh no, Roy Mars has had an issue, I'm afraid. I am unfortunately having to report. Have a look what's happened here. He's got going again. Maybe just a spin at the chicane, Jack? Yeah.
Yep. Carried too much in. Back ends come round. It's impossible to save. Too much weight in the back there.
Yeah, indeed. Too much junk in the trunk, but shiny machine. Unfortunately, it wasn't the shiniest moment of his driving. Here's Dan Kraft out in 3rd place. He's kind of on his own at the moment. 4 seconds, or 3 seconds now off Bart Horston, who is 9 seconds off race leader Paulo Munoz. So Paulo is just extending that gap tenfold time after time. Pure Sims Esports with 2 cars in the top 3. Really showing us how it's done at the moment. Now here's this battle again. Jose Buizan past Roberto Edouard while Nathan Moore watches on. Jose down the inside. Roberto backs out. Nice respectful stuff. And Buizan's up to 4th.
Yeah, Nathan's still just watching and waiting for something to go wrong. There was a car out there, and I'm not sure who it was, with some sort of angel on the back, a chrome angel. And I don't know, I'm going to leave that to you to find him eventually whilst we watch this battle. I'm not sure, I can't think, it was the one where their picture was different in the bottom left than it was on track, but I can't remember who it was. As Munoz is in the pits from the lead. These two, look, they're still battling. Going side by side through these S's, boys. You're just wasting time. They can definitely climb the order. They're trying to chase down Kraft. It's 24 seconds up the road. That's just going to extend the more. There it is. You found it. Drew Lloyd. Do you know what? I want to say this is my favourite, but I prefer the pink version.
Yeah. No, I agree.
The pink version.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, Drew. Speaking of wasting your time. Yeah, Munot's in the lead, though. Well, in the pits from the lead, I should say. Gets to look at the branding on the back of the iRacing safety car Porsche. Very lovely looking bit of kit. But this battle has been phenomenal, hasn't it?
Yeah, I can't get over how feisty these guys are being at this stage in the race. So clearly neither one wanting to sort of give quarter. They really want that position done. All of this for, well, now it's for third, fourth and fifth. But once the pit stops sort out, it's for around fourth, fifth and sixth, I think. So not much of a difference. Walton in the pits, going back down the order after his accident. So Brient's going to come back past him in a second. Yeah, there he goes. This is Horston, currently our race leader.
Yeah, doing a great job at the moment, Bart Horston. We'll give him a moment so he can get a screenshot of this and show his mum that he's going to win a race. But either way, he's doing a great job, though, to be fair, for Iridium. And like I say, Bart is a really sound guy. Dan Kraft as well, another top bloke. Pure Sims Esports, very, very quick. Some great names in this championship and some very talented drivers. Now we've got Jacob Money second in the AM class at the moment. He's 3.9 seconds ahead of Dion Neuveld. Or Neuveld, sorry. There is the gap. You could visually see it. We've got this going on. Alvaro Montez and Gustas Grinbergus right together. Gustas, he's just having to pick them off one by one here. And he is doing it bit by bit. But, I mean, biggest mover in the field from having an incident has to be Maxime Brient. He's back in the top 10 now, and there's a number of cars ahead of him that haven't pitted yet, so this has just been truly incredible.
It's been ridiculous. He's legit in the top 10. It's not anything to do with pit stops or being out of whack. He's had one of the biggest crashes we've seen this race, and he is right up there. Laubscher, though, who's next on his list, is the biggest mover in the whole race. 23 positions gained. He's had a cracking race as well.
Yeah, he's having
no accidents.
No, indeed. That's the main thing, you know. Coming through the order when all the drivers are as quick as they are in a series like this, and still doing it cleanly. Oh, why? Doing it cleanly as you can without making any mistakes or having any incidents or even getting caught up in someone else's mess is just an incredible thing to achieve. So, hats off to Ivo Laubscher, the Swiss. He's as efficient as a Swiss watch in this race so far. And Andrew Caron says, Max Labaguette 2 OP. Oh, Max Labaguette 2 OP. So, yeah, the baguette man, Maxime Brient, on his way to wrap up the title, really, as things stand. That's the main point of news here, as, oh no, Alvaro Montez has had an issue. He's dropping down the order still. Oh, it's that curb again. Yeah,
it's exactly the same as what we saw earlier. A bit of bouncing over it. Probably the rear right tapping.
Oh, no.
That's not good. Oh, that's... Oh, Blanquart as well. That's a tough one because it just looks to me like Blanquart just chose the wrong direction. that wasn't done on purpose. But yeah, quick, like you said, with these speeds, it's really hard to make that choice. So he's spun round, he's gone backwards, he's off the track, and then Blanquart's gone left, and then oh yeah, okay, so a bit of wheel spin from Montez, and it's caught Blanquart off guard there.
I want to point this out as well here. He gets overtaken, and this car sort of comes at him like, sort of tries to go, he sort of has to dive out the way again. Just caught my eye in the background, it looked a bit funny, sorry. It's me being
it looks like it scared him. That shows that he didn't mean to do that to Blanquart, because he's been scared by another car that's come out. He's just a bit disorientated, maybe a bit dizzy.
Well, that's the thing, you know, it lights up the rears, it over-rotates. How many times have you seen it where somebody just puts all the lock on to try and get back on track and you just end up turning across somebody else? So easily done. Nathan Moore, he is now into the race lead. Last pitted on lap 15. He did, of course, more laps than other people last time round. We've actually got a Pure Sims 1, 2, 3 at the moment. My friends at Pure Sims will be very happy about that. They'll be getting many screenshots for days. Look, this is how it was going. Munoz, though, of course, theoretically will be the race leader. He's only 11 seconds back off Nathan Moore. He's 12 seconds ahead of Dan Kraft. Dan pitted a lap after him. Bart Horston, though, he's managed this race really well. He's 4th place now ahead of Maxime Brient. This could be a titanic battle shaping up here because we've got Ramez Azam in there as well.
Yeah, it's looking very close between some of those top guys. I wonder, Nathan Moore, like you said, he's done this twice now. He's extending his stints, which may put him in good stead towards the end of the race. But you would have to say that Boysan and Edouard, that battle between those three, Moore included, that's probably going to go to the end of this race. Who do you think's going to come out on top of that?
Oh, I think it's going to be determined by a difference in a pit stop that will really split them up. I think that's what it's going to take. Is just a slight different tactic on the pit stops, but I think Nathan Moore, I think he's going to make this work, with staying out for a bit longer.
Yeah, and he's, like you said, Pure Sims 1, 2, 3. Daniel Craft, quite happy in what is a net second at the moment. Just looking at the times, Paulo Munoz we're back into the 26s now. There must have been some tyre stops because I haven't seen that lap time for a little while. It was 27s and 28s across the field. Quite a few people actually. Alexander Walton down into the 26s. Brient obviously flying in the 26s as well. I think
you're looking at the best lap of the race.
Oh, I am looking at the best lap. I'm sorry.
If I'd have quit, honestly. I've done that before. I've been like, oh my God, so-and-so did a 1 minute 12 last time. He's been doing 1:15s.
I haven't seen that time in ages. That's why, because it's their best lap. Right, let's go over to their last lap time then. So Brient in the 27s. So like I said, 27s and 28s for those quicker guys. Nathan Moore's last lap was a 28. Munoz obviously pitted, so his is in the 4-minute mark. Brient and Azam both doing 27.7 to 9. And then that is it, really. So those two, Brient is probably pulling Ramirez along, actually, being the fastest out there on track at the moment.
Yeah, they really are soaring to the front. Doing a mega job. It's just incredible pace. And the thing is, it's not like it's a one-off or he's getting that because he's in the slipstream. He's just doing that on his own.
Yeah,
he's just flying. And I mean, if you're going to win a championship, you're going to want to do it in a strong way. There's no glamour in winning a championship by finishing 14th or further down the order. But either way, it's been when you know the full story. Even if he finishes here in 5th place, when you know the full story of what happened here, the incident earlier on, we argued it could have been, he could have given more room. Grinbergus was on the curb and it could still be classed as a racing incident. You do want to turn in there. You don't want to turn in too late into Indianapolis when you're doing 300 Ks. But either way, the way he's come back is what matters, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's you can't fault either driver in that accident. Yes, Brient came off worse, but look how it's playing out now. And like you said, when it's a championship race like this, he can take this race. It's hard to choose what's probably more satisfying. Would he have rather got pole, ran away with it with a 1 minute lead or something stupid, or is it more satisfying to have an issue early on, go right down to the back of the field and then climb your way back up? I think for example, was it Hamilton last year at Turkey did something similar. He had a right mare, the race was all over the place, and he still won the championship in the end by having to win the race but fight for it. So Brient probably lamenting in this and having to battle for this win.
Yeah, indeed, he'll be loving it, and especially the fact that he's got Bart Horston now falling into his clutches because he's just gradually dragging himself up to the back of the Iridium Motorsports car. Obviously, Bart's last lap time 4 minutes 15 because he had his pit stop, but still, this is the difference now. Brient just soaring past like he's not even there. The slipstream, of course, very much to thank for that. Slots back in front. Bart Horston won't be too fazed by that. He's just going to keep going about his race, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but Maxime Brient now up into 4th position, and that's a genuine position on track. He's no longer out of sync with the pit stops. He is absolutely on a mission, and we will continue to say that till the very end of this broadcast. But either way, don't forget, everybody, if you are enjoying the broadcast, then make sure you do like and subscribe to Sim Racers World TV. And of course, I am Chaz Draycott, joined by my wonderful colleague Jack Johns. We've been speaking a bit recently and wanted to work together, and we've ended up working together sooner than anticipated. But it's Jack's first time with us tonight, doing a sterling job so far, I must say. And what a race to do it in, because this has been a corker. It's had a bit of everything so far, hasn't it, mate?
It has, yeah. It's been all over the place as we were watching Edouard and Walton there battling the two Simsa cars. We're now on board with Daniel Craft in P3, and Brient and Horston right behind. I think Horston, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He was never going to battle Brienne for that position. There's 40 minutes left of the race. Maybe he will fight him later on, but with the way he's been racing so far, he's probably been the one to stay out of all of the battles the most and make the most of that situation.
Yeah, that's it. Nice and clean. That's the way you want it. Now here's Kevin saying, I'd be running wide. But he's managed to keep it out of the wall, though. And to be fair, he's carrying a hell of a lot of speed on the way into there. So he's done a good job not to hit anything there, in all honesty. Andrew Dawson has had an issue. Is he going to do the same thing?
Not quite.
Oh, the curb.
Ooh.
Oh, and he's ripped the front off it.
That's a big one.
Yeah, you could say the front fell off. That's an absolute nightmare. That's one of the greatest videos of all time. That's a real shame for him, though, that. And that's just how fickle these cars are. I mean, you said it before, didn't you, about upsetting them over a curb. That's just on the throttle. It bounced a tiny bit, spun up the rears, and boom, you're in a wall before you know it. And he overcorrected it. And that's how little it takes. As Nathan Moore is in the pits.
Yeah, so he's currently going down the order. He's in P6 at the moment, but that will keep dropping for now whilst people pass him. I was just looking at the amateur class to see if there's any changes. Can't really see much. Kamal Hashimi still in first, with Jacob Money still in second at about 2.5. I need to be careful. I'm watching the right things here now. I think he's about 2.5 seconds down the road. Dion Neuveld in third still with 18 places gained. So a big mover in the amateur class.
Yeah, he's flying. Dion's done a fantastic job so far. Really good performance from him. He'll be really pleased with this, especially after qualifying. I'm not quite sure what the situation was with him not qualifying, whether he just had a hardware issue, whether he went to have a beer and forgot to jump in the car or what, but I've heard many excuses before for it. But either way, you know, he got the car in the session. He must have clicked race to get the car on the track, but then nothing happened. You know, he just sat there. So whether it was a qualifying ban or something, I'm not sure. But either way, he's doing a great job in this race. Now, if you were Daniel Kraft and you looked in your mirror and saw this, after the incident that you saw near the start of the race, you'd think something was wrong, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a few drivers say this before. You never want to let someone at the back of the field come back through and get a podium or a win. It just makes everyone else look bad. But this is genuine. He's there. He's in the mirror. Daniel Kraft is going to be like, well, where's he come from? We're an hour and 25 minutes in. He's not making stupid moves though. He's probably just giving the Kraft a bit of pressure. You can see him kept lifting off into the braking zone, so maybe he just wants him to know he's there for a whole lap, and then he'll be making that move shortly.
Yeah, we go on board now with Maxime Brienne, championship leader, championship hopeful. As things stand, he will be champion. He's outscoring Alexander Walton. He just needs to score
Not again.
some points. He's round the outside of Dan Kraft. This time he's made it stick.
Already done. Way before the right-hander. That's the best way to do that. You don't want to be side by side through that kink. The speed you take into it, anyone can understeer slightly. And as we saw earlier on, that's what happened. But then, did it matter? No. P2 for Maxime Brienne.
And he's only 13.2 seconds off the lead. But it must be said, Paulo Munoz, he is still incredibly quick. He was the only one driver other than Maxime Brienne to do a 3:27 on that last lap. And he did that with no slipstream. Bear in mind, Brienne had a little bit of slipstream at least on that last lap. Paulo Munoz is on a roll, and this guy has been fantastic to watch. You know, I mean, I said before, he was exciting after the whole earthquake incident at Daytona. You know, he's a really, really top lad, and Pure Sim should be very, very pleased to have him. He's on a real roll. So, with 35, maybe 34 minutes left to go at this race, quick maths, he's got quite the comfortable margin now, but you've got to think that if Brienne can shake off Kraft and Horston in the next lap or so, Maxime could go after him and potentially try and take the win.
It'll be interesting to see. This is going to be a true telling now. If Maxime holds the lead of this little train for this lap, we'll get a good telling of their lap times to see if they really are closing. You can see the lap times were really close then, so Paolo's actually pushing more than he was. He's done a 3:27.1. But Maxime, even with the overtakes, has done a 3:27.2. So in about 3 minutes' time, we can see some true pace from the two of them. See who's going quicker. But 14 seconds, Maxime's got to close in the next 33 minutes. It can be done, but it's going to be tough. And Paolo's going to be the one that's shocked. If he sees Briant coming through, he's going to be like, how have you got there, sir? Because it's beyond me.
Yeah, it's a good thing I don't know any swear words in Chilean, but
Yeah.
honestly, he would be shouting many expletives at the, just at everything, the mirror mainly. Kamal Hashimi, though, we mentioned him a moment ago, still doing a great job. He's had a bit of a nightmare there, though. Still doing a great job at the top of the AM class. 12.3 seconds over Jacob Money, as you can see on the timing tower there. Neuveld is 20 seconds off him, and then the gap gets bigger and bigger. Will Money in 4th place. Pretty sure was leading the class earlier, was Will Money, but he's now down in 4th. Hans Blankart is only just ahead of Justin Young, in fairness. So this is a battle for position. Blankart trying to blank out the fact that Young is right behind him, but the bull out racing, well, they'll have something else out at the moment because he's on a charge, really. And an interesting livery from this aspect anyway. Looks like it's all stitched together, but nice to see a battle in this AM class. It's been a little bit stale so far in the AM class, hasn't it? There's not been that many changes going on.
No, there hasn't. It's all kind of been happening in the pit stops. I mean, Neuveld has gained 18 places, but we haven't really seen many of them happen on track effectively. I think it was actually Jacob Money who was in the lead earlier on in the class.
Yeah,
but they both Moneys pitted at the same time, so it was a bit confusing on who came out where. And Kamal just kind of took the lead out of nowhere, really, as someone's gone off. That's Melendez in 10th place for the pro class. He doesn't look like he's got much damage there. Another little bouncy curb spin. Yeah, round he goes. Keeps it out of the wall. Yeah, gets it stopped. Rejoins. There's no one coming. Has to do a bit of a 3-point turn. Just like he's parking up at Tesco's or something, and then away he goes.
Now, James Ibram has had an issue as well. Oh, the car's out of shape. Oh, and it's out of shape again.
Oh.
And around it goes. Rodrigo Lazowski has also got... Oh,
dear. That's a big one.
and Kevin Ibe has crashed in the same incident. Now, that is out of the second chicane as well, I believe. That's a big one,
like he just sat there wheel spinning.
Yeah. So, here's Rodrigo. Oh, Kevin. Now, what's happened there is the left rear is not on the ground. It's broken the left rear completely. It does... Yeah, you can see it's rocking slightly as he's revving it. It's just broken it. Completely broken it, unfortunately, for Kevin Ibe. But he had the issue first then. So he spins it, and then Lazowski... Now, I don't want to be the guy to point it out, but it didn't look to me like Ibe was on the brakes. Because it may have only rolled a tiny bit, but it still rolled. And I think that's what caught Lazowski off guard there, because it just came away from the curb. You could say Lazowski could have gone more to the right to avoid it and be safe, but, you know, there is a massive stigmatism about people staying on the brakes when they've had an accident like that, and that tiny little roll back, it could have been what made all the difference there, unfortunately. Has to be said.
And this is the time that this sort of stuff tends to happen as well. We're an hour and a half into a 2-hour race, so people might be feeling a bit fatigued. And when you have a spin like that, especially when it's your own fault, you might get a bit sort of dazed as we go on board with Andy Spicer, who's had an issue by himself as I'm talking about it. Yeah, you get a bit disorientated and maybe just he's straight across.
Was that race leader?
Lucky.
It was. Whoa, that was Paulo Munoz there, witnessing the accident for himself. Watch how close this gets.
I mean, he's had plenty of practice keeping that rear end sliding in control, so he's rehearsed that one. But yeah, very lucky not to be collected there by Spicer as he bounces out the wall.
That was sketchy as it comes, unfortunately, but he gets away with it. Now, Dan Kraft was tucked right up behind Maxime Briant there for a moment, but he's had a bit of a nightmare on the way out of the corner. And it looks like Bart Horston is now going to try and take advantage of that. He's closer than he is to Briant. we've actually had an issue. We're going to have another replay here. Manuel Winans has just had an issue into Mulsanne, just outbroken himself. He goes straight on to just stabilise the car, which is a good idea because a lot of the time, if you do have the braking issue, you've stopped it a bit late, and then you chuck it into the right, you can spin the car, and it does more damage than it does help, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, he's done well there. It looked like the right front snatched a little bit. Not enough for smoke, but like you said, carrying too much speed in, and he's had to drive straight on. He hasn't hit the wall. He's rejoined safely, and that's probably the best you can get in that situation, a bit of damage limitation. As we go back on board with this battle for the, second and third spot, so the final 2 spots of the podium. One of these people is going to lose out within the next 28 minutes, but we do not know who yet because it is nose to tail. But Horston, you've got to say, he's one of my favourites to get into one of those top 3 spots. But I'm not sure who's going to lose out on the top 3 out of Brienne and Kraft.
Yeah, indeed. It's all to play for. And so is this. Jose Buizan. Roberto Edouard has gone around the outside into Indy. Lovely cutback from Jose Buizan as Roberto goes in a little bit too hot. We'll have another look at this from the outside because it's been a fantastic battle all the way through. Look at the overspeed that Edouard has. Goes round the outside. Incredible commitment, but just that tiny bit too hot into the corner there, Jack.
And that's the type of space you need to give round that right-hander. He left at least another car's width on the inside as he went round that corner. And then, yeah, he's just outbroken himself, which is part of the problem when you're on the inside line of that left. It's really hard to gauge your braking zone, and it's quite common to actually do that. So Buizan read him like a book, got the switchback, and now look, he's actually got quite a decent gap from it as well.
Yeah, it certainly worked out for him, but that's the thing, reading that situation, he did a really strong job of it. And he's going to want more of that, please. Just to... When you can judge the situation like that and you can sort of, in your head, you go, watch this, he's going to do this. And then when he does it, it's just so rewarding to have it because you go, look, told you, there you go. We've also had this happen while we weren't looking.
Not another slowdown, is it?
Well, you're not going to believe this. When we go back to this shot, I don't want you to scream, but... Ready? Can you believe it? Maxime Brienne is within 1.7 seconds of the race lead. How is this man doing this?
Munoz is going to be properly upset with himself after that. It's funny because I was going to say just one more slowdown, which we've seen from him 3-4 times already, and especially all in that section, actually, in the S section at the end, the Ford chicane. And I was going to say Brienne's going to be right up, but not this close. 1.3 seconds with 25 minutes to go. Brienne's going to see this. Yeah, this is going to wake his race up. I think with the 13-second gap, Brienne probably would have been thinking, this is done. P2, I've salvaged it. And it was unlikely that he was going to close that up with the pace difference between the two. Not anymore. This is fully on for the win now. Potentially a 4-car battle.
Now I noticed there Paulo Munoz is staying all the way over to the right, which is an interesting thing to do because he's staying away from the usual racing line and where the slipstream would be, but Maxime, it's not difficult to follow exactly where he's going, so he's trying to get the slipstream out of it, of course, as you would. Now I'm intrigued whether Maxime will pit this time round or the next one because it's lap 27. Actually, yeah, to be fair, he should pit this lap, should Maxime, because it's usually anywhere between 6 and 8 laps people have been doing. This is the 8th lap since he last pitted. Paulo pitted on lap 20, so they could pit together. Maxime definitely will be in this time, watch me be wrong. But I cannot believe that we're seeing this. He's now within a second of Paulo Munoz. And, I mean, this is exactly how it was earlier, wasn't it? We had these two on the front row of the grid. They both had their issues. Paulo dropped down in the first lap because of slowdowns. Maxime then had a massive accident. Alexander Walton had a big accident, and, he had his issue. He's now into 7th place behind Nathan Moore. What a comeback drive from our original top 3. This is absolutely incredible by all of them.
It's madness, and like you said, I'm really interested to see who's going to pull the trigger on these pits. Maxime, you said, should be coming into the pits this time because he last pitted on lap 19. Paulo has at least another lap in his pocket, but he's going in. They're both going in together. And third and fourth are going to go through, I think. That's Bart Horston going through and Kraft. So Bart Horston's actually past Kraft and up into third. He's going to be in the lead for now whilst these two pit.
Well, that is literal confirmation there that we are back on a level playing field. Paolo Munoz, Maxime Brient, Ramez Azam, all in the pits. As I mentioned, though, Alexander Walton, he's doing a mega job at the moment. He's now back with Nathan Moore. Bearing in mind that he had the issue earlier. He was leading the race. And he went straight on here, and he's going to go straight on now, but in the right way. Into the pit lane. And the beautiful Simsa Esports kart. All the muck and cack all over the front of it. Certainly looks great with it, though, doesn't it? It's one of the best things about endurance racing. I remember when I did the Nürburgring last year, I had to go down to Parc Ferme afterwards and just have a look at the cars. And after a 24-hour race in the rain and mud and whatever else around the Nürburgring, God, they look good with filth all over them.
Yeah, proper filthy. You're right about Alex Walton. He's sort of slowly and quietly clawed his way back up into the top 10, so a good comeback drive from him. What's interesting here is, I don't know if Kraft is close enough, but they've kind of come in 2 by 2 with the leading pairs. So you have Munoz and Brient came in together, but Horston and Kraft have stayed out together. So the slipstream kind of not broken in a way, and it'll be interesting if these two can get a quicker stop and potentially be right in the middle of that battle.
I'm also wondering whether some of these guys are going to make it to the end. We've got it was about 23 minutes, now 22 minutes to the end of this race. You've got to think, although 7.3 is 21, so 7 laps, 8 laps, they probably will make it, but if you have to do that extra lap, you may get the odd driver that's just got enough fuel to get to the end. If the leader crosses the line with maybe 10, 20 seconds left to go, which they might not expect, that's an entire extra 3.5 minutes of driving that they've got to do. Like I said, I commentated on another race last night that was an hour long in the GT3 cars, and they had their leader cross the line with about 30 seconds, 40 seconds of the race to go. Not all of them expected to have to do that extra lap. So I'm interested now. We still have that aspect to think about here. People could run out of fuel.
It's one of the worst feelings, running out of fuel on the last lap, especially when you're in one of those top 3 positions, because you just know it's all going to go away after 2 hours.
Oh,
here, there's a big contact and he's round.
It's Justin Young going away.
That's unfortunate. Just a tap on the rear, wrong corner to do it in as well. Around he goes right at the start of the lap. Orval though goes through.
Yeah, he's out of here. He didn't care. I don't know on that one. Justin did move a little bit late on the brakes, but it wasn't the biggest of moves. So, it was just a bit close. It's just close fighting.
Yeah,
you're gonna get it.
I think with how sensitive these cars on the brakes, is any movement in the braking zone is dangerous. As we've got these two still going at it. Edouard and Boissan for 4th and 5th place, fully not giving this up. We're on board with Edouard here, coming into, what's this corner called again, Chaz? Your favourite one?
The worst corner in the world, Arnage.
Arnage, that's the one. So now they're going to head towards the S section, and this is where we've seen, do you know what, more battles than I expected to see. Some really brave fighting into here. I wonder if Edouard's going to pull out from the slipstream. Yes, he is. He's going to go to the inside of this right-hander. Can he hold this? Oh, he's done it already. He's up through.
Much like Bob the Builder. Yes, he can. Smashing stuff. And look at this. That is a Brient ahead of a Munoz.
It is a Brient ahead of a Munoz. So the pit stops have, well, I imagine he done that on track after the pit stops, but it's very close between these two. Munoz is not going to want to give this up. So here's the overtake. Same place. Up the inside of the S's coming up. And he's going to get it done before the turn in. So Munoz smartly just tucks in behind. And he's going to get his chance to fight back for this as they come through the S section. But he needs to be careful of getting a slowdown through there, because he's done it enough times when he's been battling. When he wasn't under pressure, he was fine. And he had a nice clean run through there for a good stint of the race. Probably approaching an hour of the race. But now that he's back behind someone, that someone being Brient, who's now in the net lead, the pressure's back on Munoz, and he might get that slowdown again.
I'm doing the Christian Horner style foot jiggle at the moment. Yeah. I'm that excited, honestly. This is just amazing. Maxime Brient, I mean, there's going to be so much smoke up his backside for me that he's just going to explode. But he has just had it all season, and the fact that he's had a big crash like he's had, and then managed to come back from it in the way that he has, I don't know. I don't really have many words for it, to be fair. I realise I'm getting a few stutters at the minute, everybody. I do apologise. I'm going to try and make sure it's sorted. So, you know, I'm going to do the good thing and rag the death out of my CPU by making it do a replay. Andy Spicer has a spin. Last corner. We've seen plenty of that today. Manuel Winans also having an issue. Another spin, but the pendulum effect, as we spoke about earlier, Jack, it's a nightmare in these cars because much like open wheel cars, they rely that much on downforce. When they're gone, aren't they?
Yeah, they just go round. We've got a few more people still yet to pit. So Nathan Moore and Daniel Kraft are still out there at the moment. You'd assume they're going to pit this lap, and Bart Horston as well, to give Maxime and Paolo the lead. Ramez Azam in 6th place. Alexander Walton in 7th still. Edward is past Boysan in 8th and 9th. Grin Burgess, who had a big crash, he's in the top 10. Laubscher, 21 positions gained in 11th. Melendez, 12th. Texera is in 13th. And then we've got the lead of the amateur class, still Hashimi, about 5 seconds up the road from Jacob Money.
Yeah, it's great stuff at the minute. Really great stuff. We are getting a few frames lost, and I'm not sure why, everybody. So I'm trying to sort it. I'm sorry. It's not network-wise. Just seems to be the odd stutter here and there. So things aren't as smooth as we like them to be here on Sim Racers World TV. So bear with me, and I will get it sorted. Or I'll try. We don't like to restart the sim or give up here, so we will take a look at it. But still, fantastic racing by Maxime Brienne. Nathan Moore is actually, although I'm not sure whether you just covered this. I'm sorry, Jack. I won't lie. I was trying to sort the frame rate out, but Kraft and Horston are ahead on track. And
They have done their stop.
They've done their most recent pit stop.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I assumed that they still hadn't stopped yet.
Although I
but then
suppose
thinking about it more,
they have to take less fuel. They've taken less fuel because it's closer to the end and it's the last stint. So Daniel Kraft pitted for 19.3 seconds. Bart Horston was 20.6. Brienne and Munoz were 25 and 23 seconds. So the pair of them having to pit for a much longer period. I say much longer, but you know, a couple of seconds makes all the difference, doesn't it?
makes a massive difference. So yeah, I mentioned earlier that it might be Slipstream helping them out to potentially get in the middle of the battle. I did not expect them to take that amount of time off of their pit stops and fully jump both cars and take first and second effectively whilst we're waiting for Nathan Moore to pit. So Kraft in the lead, and Horston, the quiet Horston throughout this whole race, P2, with Brienne chasing him down.
Yeah, indeed. It's just incredible performance so far from him. Can't knock it. We've had an issue for Roberto Edouard. We had one not long ago. Jose Buizan got past. He's just gone off a little bit at Mulsanne. But then, not long later, he's had a moment at Indy, and the car goes around. That's a real shame. Just sneak, and just misses hitting the canards on the wall.
That's going to be that battle over with Boysan. They've been at it for a fair percentage of this race. But yeah, like we mentioned, once this car locks up, it's locked up, and you just have to run with it and see what happens. But then that spin, who knows what that was a result of? Maybe just a bit flustered. This is Brienne up the inside of Horston, so he's making moves. He's back up into P3. Oh, who's that's gone off? Someone just moving out the way? Yeah, that's the leader of the AM class. That's Hashimi, I think. But yeah, so Brienne up into P3 right now, just ahead of Horston, but Horston just pushing him along the straight. He's very close. Is he going to try and get this back into the chicane?
He's certainly going to try. As in the background, that's just Paulo Munoz. You know, only the guy that was leading the race before. But he's just trying to make it work. Horston, though, doesn't go for it there, which I'm intrigued by. Because you would have thought that he would, but
he's probably got the timer on somewhere. He sees there's 15 minutes left. This is not the time to do it. Maybe he's just going to follow him to potentially chase down Daniel Kraft, who I'm assuming they know is in the lead at the moment, whilst we're still waiting for Nathan Moore to come into the pits, who's still leading this race. He's led quite a few laps by extending these stints. Hashime's off again in the background.
No,
Bit of smoke.
EJ Fielner, that one.
It's EJ Fielner.
Season admin. No, he just sort of comically slid across the shot. I'm afraid. Overrotates the car. Exits stage left. And off onto the gravel he goes. Now, I'm a bit of an update, everyone. I know it's not the most important thing in the world right now, but I'm trying to figure out what is causing these sudden stutters. iRacing seems fine. You know, when I actually watch it in the sim, it looks beautiful and looks very, very smooth. But then when it goes through OBS, despite not skipping any frames, or it's telling me it's not skipping any frames, it's unfortunately being a pain. We're using 0.9% CPU as well, so clearly the Ryzen 7 3800X, big flex, doesn't really seem to be that bothered by what's going on at the minute, but I have no explanation as to what is causing that, I'm afraid, everybody. Either way, it's not too terrible, but you might have to just deal with it. That's how it is. But, I mean, Briant now he's got Horston with him. You would think if you were Bart Horston, you just stick there and get on with it. But at the end of the day, that's not in Briant's mind now. He doesn't think, right, let's work together to go forward. Briant knows he's got the pace to go after our current race leader, Dan Craft. Nathan Moore could still be a surprise here, although, yeah, he's not stopped in his box yet. And Dan has literally just gone past him, so he's not quite going to take the win. But he's going to have a very short pit stop here, is Nathan Moore. And it could move him a few places up compared to where he was earlier.
Yeah, we said he's been extending his stints quite a few times. We got a comment from TSC Design. From my calculations at the moment, Jacob Money gets the lead of the AM class with 149 points. 4 points ahead of Roy Mass, and then Ibram third with 143 by TSC Design's calculations.
Well, there you go then. Jacob Money on the money, as I've said many a time. Poor lad. But that's what you need to do. Hashimi doing a great job, though. Still leading this class.
Yeah, he's you can't fault Hashimi. He hasn't put a foot wrong, really. He's been leading for a while, ever since one of the really early pit stops. I think pit stop 1 or 2 in this race. Hashimi's been in the lead since then, and he hasn't really seen any cars on track. My mistake, as I said, it was Fjellner earlier that went off twice. So, yeah, Hashimi not putting a foot wrong.
It's been awesome. Really awesome performance by him. And hopefully he continues this all the way to the end and sees the result that he needs from it. 1 hour, 48 minutes and 50 seconds in. Barely 10 minutes to go now. So the drivers will start to realise what they need to do. And there is a visual representation of what Maxime Briant needs to do. He's got to crack on and go after Daniel Craft, who has, to be fair, been a real star in this race. You know, he started 10th. He creeped up to, I think it was 6th and then 4th in the early stages in the first few stints. And since then, even though he had that little spin and that little moment, he's just been on a charge. He's worked the pit stops to his advantage. A 19-second pit stop was an absolute belter. And that's what's given him the race lead. You know, 6 seconds faster than Maxime Briant, just less than 6 seconds. If I'm being very, very picky, it was, what, 5.9? So, although no, wait there, I'll figure it out. 5.88 seconds different, but, you know, he's still done it right at the minute as Dan Craft, and that's why he's in the lead of the race. So, he carries on. I'm still angry at him for taking my number 22 and forcing me to use the number 10, but, you know, he's doing everything right. He's got 10 minutes to go, but we know how quick Maxime Briant is. Can he catch up, or will? One thing we've not considered, or at least I haven't, I'm not sure whether you have, but Bart Horston, you know, the pressure behind from Bart here. If Bart goes for a move, tries to make Maxime's life difficult, that could stop him going after Dan and taking the potential win.
Absolutely. They're both closing slowly but surely at the moment with 3, potentially 4 laps left. With, again, like you said, potential fuel issues on the horizon for anyone that hasn't put enough in. But Horston, yeah, really hounding him through these sections. And the more pressure that Horston puts on, the less likely Briant will be taking this win. And Craft, probably, other than Laubscher, going to be the driver of the day with 9 positions gained, arguably the 9 hardest positions to gain on the track, and taking the win.
Yeah, he's done a smashing job of it. And that's it, you know. It can often be with races like this, if you know you're going to have a number of pit stops, the important ones are the last 2. It's how you set yourself up for your final pit stop and your penultimate stint, but then ultimately It is how long is your last stop, because how much fuel have you left yourself to the end? You know, it's rare in motorsport that you have it's brilliant. It's all out of shape. I was going to say it's rare that you often get a final stint that is exactly a full tank, you know. You get drivers that only come in when they know that they can just brim the tank and go all the way to the end. You get others where they'll run it to fumes and then only fill it with what they need to get to the end from there. So in this championship, it's all about calculating it and calculating it right, and that's exactly what Dan Craft has done. You could argue that Maxime, you know, he's out of sync a little bit with where he sort of the window that he could use, you could say, because of the incident earlier and when he had to come in and pit, but it's not a massive difference really, is it? He did a good job of correcting it. And Horston, to be fair, he looks like he's not been too aggressive yet, is he? So all the factors are falling into place for Maxime Brienne, but the gap at the start of this lap has got bigger.
Yeah, that's right. I was just trying to work out whether it's one of those tracks where the sort of relative goes up and down as they go throughout, but it does look like Craft extending that gap. You said Horston's not being aggressive. He might not be making the moves, but he is not letting that gap get much bigger at all, as he's just staying there, fully showing himself in the mirrors. And we mentioned earlier at the night, the headlights are bright on these cars, and Brienne definitely knows that he's there.
Yeah, he'll be well in his head by now, will Bart Horston. But I think, to be fair, on Bart's part there, he's sort of shown Brienne, you know, I know I can go past you. I know I can make my life easy and just drive ahead and cause a battle. But he's a clever lad, is Bart, and he knows that Maxime is closing on Dan. And he could see that as a potential chance for a win here. You know, all it takes is one really good lap from Maxime and some good slipstreaming by Bart to drag him right up to that race lead, and he's effectively giving it him on a silver plate, because then if he gets the chance to make the move on the last lap, then he's going to go for it. Although he's still looking. He's going to undo what I've just said here about him being a clever lad and go for the move, isn't he? But he's...
I think... Oh, he's sliding. Brienne sliding around that corner. I don't know. This might not be the case. Oh, there's contacts. He's broken too late. Oh, he's caught him off guard. Brienne's off track.
Oh.
I mean, that's P2 for Horston. Munoz.
That was such a shame.
Yeah, that was shaping up to be a great battle towards the end. There's only 6 minutes left, and it's just going to be that Horston maybe caught out a little bit too close to the back of him. Just broke earlier than expected, and then just into the braking zone. Brienne clearly taking it a little bit more cautious than Horston thought, and there is the contact. Around he goes, and then he's gonna. I mean, it's a good thing this isn't the real world, because I'm sure there'll be some hand signals right about now as he goes past and takes P2.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely gutting for Maxime Brienne. That's twice he's had contact, and around that part of the circuit as well. But as you say, Bart Horston, he's now 3.1 seconds off Dan Craft, who is still leading this race with surely 2 laps to go now. And TSC Design, giving so much useful info, by the way. Thank you very much, mate. He said Brienne pitted with 25 minutes to go, and the first stops came around the 24-minute mark, so he might just have been fuel saving. At the end of the day, he's still in third, and he's still in championship contention. Ramez Azam and Munoz are having a battle behind. I say contention for Brienne, you know what I mean. He is still going to be champion if he finishes here, but to have gone for that win at the very end and taken that away from Craft, that would have been one hell of a way to round out the season, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It would have been close. I was really interested to see the fight between Brienne and Horston actually for the last couple of laps, because that was going to go on forever, but it probably would have resulted the same way on a different corner, because it was extremely tight, as we can see here. Let's have a look at the difference. It's just carrying more speed on entry, and it's just caught him out. He was so close, couldn't even see the brake lights of Brienne there. But Munoz, just a quick note on Munoz as we jump on board with him. Good timing there, Chaz. I don't know if it's just tyre wear, but he's dropped off the pace in this later stage of the race, maybe as a result of how aggressive he's been for the first hour and a half. It doesn't seem like he's got the pace anymore, as he's now down to 5th.
I know that you can stint the tyres a lot on these cars. You know, I've seen people do it before 4 stints, maybe even 5, just because the stints are obviously shorter, so it sounds worse than it is. You know, if you said 5 stint the tyres on a GT3 car, they'd tell you where to go. But, you know, in these cars, it's like double stinting them in a GT3 car because, I mean, this is a 2-hour race. GT3 car tanks last for, what, between 50 minutes to an hour and 5? So, you know, double stinting tyres, it's the same amount of time either way, you know, in terms of if you're going to single or double stint them. So I think a lot of these guys will have used the tyres up early on and just be nursing them home now. One guy that's doing just that is Dan Kraft, although he's still on really good pace. He was actually quicker than Bart Horston last time round by 0.03 of a second. The guys that were quicker than him there, Ramez Azam was quicker. That's it. Only Ramez Azam was quicker than Dan Kraft last time round. Ramez, of course, 4th place. He's ahead of Paulo Munoz now, and he's making that gap bigger with the aforementioned pace. But 1 lap to go here, Jack. It's obviously been your first gig with us this evening. It's been a joy so far, and with 1 lap to go, mate, how would you sort of round it up, essentially, at this point?
Well, there's been a lot of action, hasn't there? There's been a few crashes all over the place, a few lonely spins, a bit of curb bouncing. Kraft has been, he's been one of the stars of the show to have that gap and be in the lead just from pure strategy and sort of secret pace, really. He's quietly made his way there, and it looks like he's going to sort of take this win. Munoz, he was my favourite going into it. Yes, he had pole, but with this race being 2 hours and slipstream, it would have been impressive if he could still have made it. But as I said, it looks like he's dropped off. A gap that I was watching, which has now actually changed, it was Hashime and Money in the AM class. It was down to 0.8 about half a lap ago, but somehow that's now down to 1.9 seconds. So I thought that battle was going to be close for the win coming on to the last lap, but that Hashime has extended it. Maybe he's, I don't know, turned on extra hybrid power or something. Who knows?
It's very true. You know, it's easy for drivers to have fluctuations in lap times. I mean, we always see it. It's just part and parcel of racing. But yeah, I think Hashime, he's not going to be too worried at the minute. But we are going to have another lap. So he just needs to keep an eye on it. And he just needs to subconsciously keep himself calm here, because Jacob Money, you know, they've confirmed he's going to win the championship if he stays there. Whether he'll be a good sport and say, you know, if I get close, I'm still going to let Kamal take the win. I mean, if he's a true racer, he won't. There you are. No pressure. But you know what I mean. If you really want to push and you want to make the statement, you go for the win. But, you know, I know what people are like in the sim racing community. It's a wonderful place to be most of the time. And he'll see Kamal leading this and say, yeah, you know what, mate, you've done a great job here. You keep that win. I'm going to win the championship. No worries. But either way, we'll see.
Has he had a win before? Is this going to be his first win?
I believe this will be his first win, Kamal Hashimi. I will have a quick check of what we've had before.
And then, so this is what we were talking about earlier. There's 2 ways to win a race, really. There was the Brienne way that we were watching, where he sort of started near the front, went to the back and climbed his way. And then I think Hashime has gone for the other option, where he didn't start on pole, but he has led this race pretty much from the first pit stop to the end. Hasn't put a foot wrong. There's 0.9 of a gap now as we're approaching the 2-hour mark. Daniel Kraft still in the lead. And a few people having a big crashes, but still in the top 10. Walton, P7.
Yeah, Walton's been great, to be fair. A bit under the radar since the incident, but still doing everything right, really, to get back up there. Fernando Texeira's just had to come in. Ironically, the Fuel Tech Esports team driver having to have a quick splasho-dasho. Same with Andy Spicer. I think he just had an incident not long ago. He did come up on here. That's out of the Porsche curves. Oh, clips the gravel. Nice save, but oh, the 50p shaped tyres now, I'm afraid, after that one. But yeah, Dan Kraft's been a star. I was just looking at the AM class stuff. Pablo Prado won the first round of the championship. Then James Ibram. Funnily enough. But then he didn't have the greatest time at Daytona. He had a poor result at Sebring. Jacob Money winning that race. And James Ibram, unfortunately, at the moment, is 25th overall, 10th in class, losing 10 places in class as well. So he'll be really, really gutted with that one. And to be fair, Although actually the class gain thing sort of bewilders me a little bit here, because it says minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on for everybody in the AM class, so I think that may be incorrect. But either way, this is now the AM class lead, so it has really closed up. We're going to see now what Jacob Money wants to do here. Look at the understeer there, wow. Apologies everyone. Dan Kraft is going to win the AIS Racing Simulators Le Mans LMP2 Dash. What a drive. Bart Halston is second, and your champion, Maxime Brient for Mivano Sim Racing. Awesome stuff all season from Maxime. What a fantastic achievement that is. 1 round to go, and he has done it. Incredible stuff. And to be fair, I think after a drive like that, Jack, you've got to say it's very well deserved.
That's unbelievable race. Can't get over how far down he was, and with potential damage as well going into the wall around this corner that we're watching these two battle for the lead of the amateur class. Oh, this is going to be close. Like you said, we're going to watch Jacob Money, but yeah, Brient doing a fantastic job to finish on the podium after that. Look at this, he's gone down the inside. What a move for the lead. Oh, the girls slobber on. One of them goes into the gravel. This is not over yet. Is this going to carry on into the curves? We go into this right-hander. Oh, Hashime right behind him. He's led this whole race, and Jacob Money, you said he wouldn't be a real racing driver if you let him have the win. This doesn't look like it is. It's not going to end that way. 3 tenths the gap now. He's moving over to break the slipstream. They're heading towards the S's. Look at this. This is more than one move. They're coming into the S's now. Can't be a move made there. They're coming now through the right hand. Oh, he's got a swapper on. Oh, I thought he was going to go for that then. That would have been a big crash and potentially both of them out. Still, I'm trying to think whether... I don't think he's close enough to make a move into the final chicane now. No, he's backed off. That's that. He's lost the lead. Last lap. I'll let you take the reins, Chaz.
Well, Jacob Money has got it done there on the last lap. Fantastic commitment. Great stuff. Really good battle. Kamal Hashimi, you can take your hat off to him. It's been a great drive. But Jacob Money not only wins this class in this race, but he also takes with it the AM Championship as well. Well, he takes the AM Championship lead, I should say. Sorry, I realised I got ahead of myself there. But either way, fantastic stuff from Jacob Money, and he will go into the final round of the championship, sorry everybody, with the potential of taking the title in that one. But what can you say about Maxime Brient? That was just a wonderful, wonderful bit of racing today, and one of the best comebacks we've seen. But Dan Kraft, you know, he's disappeared. Obviously, he's gone in. He's left. But Dan Kraft was just a real star today, wasn't he? There wasn't much that could touch him after that final pit stop. But it wasn't looking like he was going to be an outstanding race winner right until the end.
Yeah, no, like you said, Dan Kraft, sort of a hidden winner really in that race. Really quiet all the way through. Horston, again, a quiet one, but we were watching him, and it like we said, he's cool, calm, and collected all the way through. This is great slow motion replays. Look at all those flies and the muck on that car. Disgusting. But then, and then Brient coming home in third after that crash really early on in the race. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it certainly was fantastic. Dan Kraft takes the win then in typical Chaz stuttery frame fashion across the line. Jacob Money getting that move done. We'll have a quick look back at it just to fill in a bit of time. Obviously the guys have to do the in-lap as well. But we'll go on board with Jacob Money so you can see how this went in what looks like 15 FPS. Sorry everyone. It's not that bad. But it was, I mean, from here he looks like he's too far back, but I mean, this is the fastest part of the circuit, the most slipstream you're going to get. Look at the closing speed that he had. It was mind-blowing, wasn't it?
He's just, made the move out of nowhere. Comes through the right hander and just commits. It's like he'd made his mind up all the way down at the hairpin. Look, it slides round. He was not letting that go, and then both of them got a big slide round there. They didn't touch through this right hander. But Hashime, not wanting to let it go, looked like he was going to fight it. And both of them, watch the weaving as they come down here. There was left and rights all over the place. This bit was fine, but then as 137, Hashime closes in. Here it is, over to the right, back over to the left, over to the right again, back over to the left, and then into the right hander. Just ruined, kind of threw him off a little bit there. A bit of an intimidation to not make that move. And then I thought they was going to dive up there, but he thought better of it, and then that's 1 and 2.
Yeah, it was great racing all the same. really enjoyable to watch. Well deserved by Jacob Money. You know, he made the gutsy move, and it paid off. Those moves don't always work for you. Kamal Hashemi, though, he led so much of the race that you have to really feel for him in the end there, but it was an awesome drive all the same. A strong way to round out that race. So we'll start by having a quick chat with, of course, the man that ended up winning the race. I mean, there's not really many better people to start the conversation with, but we cut to him in the pit lane, unfortunately, so it's not the most... oh no, there he is. Dan Kraft. Dan, mate, it's been a while for one, so hello, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
You must be over the moon with that, mate. That was a corker of a race.
Yeah, it was. It's very lucky, to be honest. I was. Well, I'm completely out of the championship, so I was just joining this race for a bit of fun and get some experience. And yeah, I made a mistake myself. I crashed at Tetra Rouge and got into the barrier, and at that point I thought my race was done, but I just hanged in there, and everyone else got caught up in incidents, and I got to the front. I was lucky in a way.
Yeah, it didn't seem like the cleanest race on many people's parts, to be fair. You know, there's a few incidents here and there, the odd mistake, but it's not an easy track to rag this car around consistently, is it? It's not really a place for consistency.
It's really tricky, and with the draft, everyone it really groups everyone up. And yeah, there's a couple incidents on the straights which was a shame to see, but I think with people drafting and the connections, it's always difficult to not have incidents when people are trying to race so close to each other down a straight.
Yeah, very true. And you know, we were talking about these cars and the way they move, how quickly they can change direction, and your sort of reactions that you need to have. I mean, it's so easy to just make one tiny move and it causes an incident here because the other guy's not got time to react. Do you find that that's what makes these cars difficult to race with, or do you think that sort of keeps people on their toes in a good way?
I think the draft helps keep people together. The cars are pretty bulletproof, and unless you hit the side pod, I think it's just the nature of Le Mans with everyone fighting, and there didn't seem to be much patience today. Like for my entire first and second stint, I was just fuel saving at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
But quite a lot of people were trying to be aggressive and make moves when we were half an hour into a 2-hour race. It was not necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, you do get a mixture of approaches from everybody in races like this, don't you? I mean, I was talking to Jack earlier and saying that a lot of the guys treat this like a 2-hour sprint race, which, you know, you kind of have to in some ways because of just the outright pace that people have. You just have to treat every single lap as a quali lap sometimes, but you know, you made it work either way, mate. Did you expect to gain as much as you did from that final stop?
So I played a bit of strategy, to be honest. I short fueled to try and break the toe to Bart behind. So once I got through those first couple of corners and I saw my gap was above 1.2, I knew I was pretty good. So waiting flat out for a couple of laps and then started to fuel save once I got a big enough gap. So I'm really glad that strategy worked out for me.
Yeah, you can say that again, mate. It was an absolute corker. I mean, you know the question by now, Dan. It's our first time speaking together for a while, but do you want to give anybody a shout out before you go?
Firstly, I'd just like to thank Paolo, my teammate, for building a great setup for Le Mans, and yeah, of course, I'd like to thank my team, Pearson T-Sports and Pearson Simulators, who are the main sponsor, alongside SimLab, Freem, Cube Controls, and SimLab.
Cracking stuff. Well, great to speak to you again, Dan. Very well done, mate. A massive win that is. And will we be seeing you for the final round?
Yes, yeah, can't wait to be at Spa. So got plenty of experience from SCO to take into that round. So really looking forward to it.
Smashing. So away. Good stuff, Dan. Thanks very much, mate. We'll see you soon.
Thanks. Take care.
Cheers. Well, there we go then. Your race winner, Dan Kraft, doing a wonderful job. And well, I said that we hope that Bart Horston would get a podium so we could speak to him again because he was so terrific at Silverstone. Bart, that didn't look like the easiest of races on any accounts, but you just sort of floated your way to the top. How did you do that?
I guess that's one way of describing it. I'm not really sure how I would, but yeah, I didn't really have the speed. I mean, I didn't know what pace I would have because, funnily enough, similar to Silverstone, I didn't really. I've been really busy this week, and I only really got on the sim today to do a practice sim. I was thinking more of a fun race than anything, but I have good experience in terms of I've done a lot of race hours around Le Mans in some pretty good competitions, so I did have an idea of how the race might pan out, and I knew that if you just stay in the tow, you keep it clean, you're really consistent, look after your tyres and save fuel, you know, anything could happen because people get slow down so easily, and then you get free positions basically, and it was a pretty chaotic race in my favour for the most part. Yeah, so I mean, it was a lot of fun with those guys. Obviously, there's going to be a few incidents to clean up in the stewards room, but no, it was a really fun race, and the slipstreaming element, and I think the big difference here was the fact that it was a sprint race, meaning that yes, there was a bit of fuel saving, but there was not the normal kind of just sit behind and wait that you'd see on a an endurance race around the circuit.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've just said it again then to Dan as well, obviously our eventual race winner, that some of the guys treat this like a 2-hour sprint race, and you kind of have to behave in the same way, really. You have to follow suit with a lot of it, don't you, just because of how quick some of these guys are.
Yeah, I mean, I was taking everything I was getting. I wasn't really chasing. I knew I didn't have the pace in clean air, and I was kind of learning as I was going. I think, fortunately, following some guys like Paolo, Maxime, and Dan, that I kind of got a better idea of how to drive the car around this track and where you can push it, what curves you're meant to take, things like that. And so I think at the end my pace wasn't too bad. I was probably only a few tenths off some of the other guys, but yeah, the tow is a massive help in being smart with that and knowing when to use it. And yeah, I think it was one of those races where you didn't have to be the fastest to win, as we saw, because as soon as you start fighting, then you get brought back into it with the tow.
Yeah, it was. It's a race of mind games really around here all the time, but either way, still an entertaining one. Was there any particular highlight for you? I mean, any battles that you really enjoyed more than anything else?
Oh no, there's so much that happened in that race. It feels like a 6-hour race instead of a 2-hour in a lot of ways, to be honest. But I don't know. I think I enjoyed all of it. I always love driving this car in iRacing, and I always enjoy the opportunity to drive around Le Mans as well. And the racing here today was pretty. For me, I think I just enjoyed how hard I had to push to keep up with some of these guys, even with the tow you get around here, and being able to follow Maxime and things like that is just kind of a joy in its own, I guess. Being behind that kind of quality and seeing what he's doing and learning from it, I think all of that was just a good race in general. And then just the kind of constant tension of you're waiting in the tow behind some of the other drivers, but at the same time, you can't really go forward and make that gap. But if you make a mistake, it could be costly because then you lose that tow. So I think that's that constant pressure, and it kind of the release of that after the 2 hours is quite enjoyable.
With a beer, I imagine. But either way, it was certainly a great one to watch. But a good result out of it as well. Plenty of championship points have come your way now because of that. So going into the final round, it's a nice way to at least begin a wrap-up of the championship. But before we get to Spa-Francorchamps, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout-out to before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my sponsors, EP Warm Floor and the Web guys, for supporting me this season in British F3.
Cracking stuff, and obviously I hope that it goes well for you this year, mate. I'll obviously keep an eye out as well, and I'm sure we all will. But thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us, Bart. Well done on your result today, and we'll see you again very soon. Yeah,
okay, thanks. Hopefully I'll see you soon too.
Yeah, cheers, man. Cracking stuff there, Bart Horston. Yes, races Formula 3 in real life as well, so a very, very good talent. We'll leave Maxime to last. We'll make him wait, and next up we will speak to our second place finisher from the AM class in that one, Kamal Hashimi. Kamal, that was such a great battle at the end that you had there. I mean, it was such a shame to see you lose that position right at the death, but that was, all in all, a really good race for you. You must have enjoyed that one. Can't hear Kamal at the moment, unfortunately, so we'll pop him back in, and we'll grab, instead, our class winner from that one, Jacob Money, the man that made the move. Jacob, that must have been quite nerve-wracking going into Indianapolis there, mate. It was certainly one of the moves of the race for us here in the commentary box. But how did you feel about it?
Oh, I was panicking. Yeah, I was getting closer and closer, and then we came through the kink before the braking zone, and I was just like, I've just got to go for it. I could see from the laps before I was quicker through this section anyway, so I thought I'm just gonna hope and pray there isn't a collision.
Well, thankfully there was a tiny bit of contact, but it didn't really affect either of you that much, and you know, it was a good battle, plenty of respect between the pair of you. Did you expect to be able to close that much at the end and finally take the win?
It was close. It was going to be close. I took tyres, and I don't think he did. That's why he was able to get ahead. And I think it was with about half an hour to go, the gap was about 12 seconds. And within 10 minutes, I brought it down to about 8 seconds. So I knew the pace was there. I just had to keep it all together for the remaining part of the race so I could catch up. And I didn't realise it was going to be that close right at the end.
Well, it certainly kept us on the edge of our seats. I think Jack nearly had a hernia at the end of that one then. It was absolutely fantastic stuff. But, you know, Le Mans, it's been a real gem of a circuit. And obviously, I mean, it suits prototype cars anyway. But when it's one make stuff and you don't have to deal with GT traffic, I think it just really highlights how good the racing can be with these things. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've always done multi-class at Le Mans, and to do a one-make race it's just changed my dynamic of the track. Yeah, it feels a little bit like multi-class in the sense that there's faster and slower cars, but I was more of the midfield, so I didn't really experience any of that. There were a couple of that was it.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like, you know, it's never an easy race around here, but it seemed like you got the good of it, to be fair. So it definitely went your way. You lead the AM Class Championship into the final round at Spa. Do you think that have you got the confidence there to wrap it up, do you reckon?
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out. I mean, I'm just going to be putting in the practice, get Sebring out of the way next weekend, and then just hammer in the practice for Spa. So hopefully if I can get... I think it's more going to be about quali next time. If I can get a good quali, like James this time, if I can get a good quali, hopefully I can just keep ahead of the pack. And then over the first few laps, the pros can come past, and hopefully I can still have that gap to the rest of the Anfield, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's it. You never know till you get there a lot of the time. But either way, mate, fantastic result today. Really do approve of that. And the people on YouTube can't really see this, but I massively approve of your Discord profile picture as well. Star Wars related is all people need to know. But fantastic result today, mate. Really enjoyed that. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you go?
Just my brother Will. He was in the race. It was a bit unfortunate for him. He did try and catch up to P3, but I'm not sure how far off he was in the end.
I could tell you it was, I think, 13 seconds, so not too bad. But either way, it was a wonderful watch today, Jacob. Well done, mate. And of course, we hope it goes well for you at the final round at Spa. But as you said, you don't know till you get there, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers, buddy. Have a good evening.
See.
There goes Jacob Money then, and I'm not sure whether I offended him or not there with the mentioning Star Wars, but either way, we'll bring in Kamal Hashemi. Kamal, that was a hell of a final few laps there, mate. A real shame to see the race not go your way in the end, but it still looked like an enjoyable one.
Oh man, it was upsetting losing a P1 like that, but my tires were gone.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, they do tend to go off a cliff in this car, and I mean, you can sort of enlighten us really, because we did consider that people might be staying on the same set of tyres throughout the whole race. Was that something that any of the guys or even you were doing?
Yeah, that's what I did, but I actually didn't really plan on doing it until after the first couple stints. I realized I was only losing about like 10% per lap, so it felt fine until I think like literally the last stint, or like I think like the stint before that, I drifted into one of the turns, and right after that, down the gutter. But I noticed that the pro drivers weren't changing tires either. So every single time right before I would pit, I would look at their pit times. I'd be like, around 50 seconds. And I was like, okay, well, if they're not going to take tires, neither am I.
Yeah.
Especially after Jacob took tires, I was like, oh, I'm not giving him free 15 seconds.
Well, that's it. You know, it was still a great fight all the end, and it was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, to be fair, I think for us it's been the best race of the season. Did it feel like that sort of event to you? Did it feel that exciting from in the car?
Oh yeah, I mean, it got pretty spread out pretty quick. Surprisingly, I was like, Sebring was really exciting for me just because it was it's a smaller track, and also, like, it was, in my opinion, it was like I had some like pretty decent battles, but I feel like I didn't really have too many battles in this one. But obviously it's enjoyable staying in P1. but yeah, no, I had a lot of fun.
Well, that's the main thing, mate, and we had a lot of fun up here as well. Final round at Spa, how are you feeling about that one? You confident?
I am so excited. Hopefully I can hold P1 this time.
Well, fingers crossed. We look forward to seeing it come out. Is there anybody you'd like to give a thanks to while you're here?
For sure, yeah. I'd like to shout out, my Twitch stream, Lenny Vega. Thanks for hanging out and keeping me motivated. And also, obviously, what's it called? I think Drew Lloyd.
Yeah.
He gave me a couple tips last night, actually, and helped me out, give me a couple coaching tactics, and so shout out to him for helping me out, and definitely, like, something clicked this morning because of him. So.
And you beat him as well, so even better.
yeah. He was like, he was telling me, he's like, you're as fast as me, and I was like, oh, I was not as fast as you last night. I don't know what happened. So it worked out. And then shout out to my team, obviously, Apex Tech, and also the league. EJ does a phenomenal job, and I help out, but he does a lot of the stuff. So.
Fair play. It was awesome to watch, Kamal. Thank you very much for your time, mate, and we'll see you at the finale at Spa.
Yep, see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And well, one more interview to round it out. He's here, and he's had, well, it's been a hell of a night, a hell of a day to try and get here. Maxime Brient, your new Apex Tech LMP2 Championship champion. Maxime, you must be over the moon with that, but wow, what a race you had to put up with to get there, mate. Flipping heck, talk us through that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I was lucky with this first incident, let's say, because my damage have been repaired as soon as I pitted. So, but yeah, I was definitely completely lost, and yeah, just try to do my best to recover from this, and yeah, everyone cracked themselves, especially Gustav. So that's great. I mean, yeah, I was lucky as well.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you still had to get yourself back in sync with the pit stops, which is something that we were focusing on, and then, carry the pace all the way through that. When Paolo had his issue in the final corner and had that spin, and you were 1.7 seconds behind, I think a bit of my brain melted, because we couldn't believe that you'd finally managed to get all the way back up there in a similar pit window as well. I mean, when you saw Paolo slow in front of you and you caught back up, how did you feel?
Well, I was like he had a big gap with me, so I was wondering why he was so aggressive. I mean, he just had to bring it home. So yeah, okay, but anyway, I had to save fuel so much to get to make sure to don't do a splash at the end. So yeah, that's why after the last pit I was P3 behind Bart and Daniel.
Yeah, it was a shame about the incident with Bart as well, but when you're just trying to save that fuel, and we were saying about the fact that Bart was very close, but he didn't cause an issue. He didn't want to try and make all the moves all the time, but it just seemed a bit unfortunate into our knowledge. I mean, how did it feel from your point? I imagine not the best moment of the race, obviously, but it seemed like it wasn't really a sort of dramatic accident, was it? It was just the tiniest touch.
No, I mean, with Bart it was like, yeah, kind of netcode, and I understand him because like he just told me first he apologized to me, so that's great, and then he told me that if he was not like at least 3 tenths behind me after Arnage, like it was hard to keep up with me until the Unodier. So yeah, he was just doing his best to try to overtake me in the last lap and try to catch Daniel, but yeah, I don't mind, like, just a racing incident.
Yeah. Well, either way, you came out of it and you had the championship. So, you know, 1 round to go. Spa-Francorchamps, amazing circuit, amazing car, great series, new champion. I imagine you're going to let your hair down a bit and just enjoy that one, are you?
Yeah, for sure. And I might even maybe not do the queue and just enjoy starting from the back. We'll see.
Well, it's not the first time we've seen it, so I'm excited to see how you get on with that one, mate. But before you go tonight, Maxime, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout-out to?
Big shout to my crew chief Tommaso Carla, especially this round because he just saved me with the strategy. Like, yeah, this is thanks to him. Like, I didn't have to do the splash. Thanks to John for helping me with the setup, and thanks to Craig Stop Shop for the setup.
Great stuff. Well done again, Maxime. Fantastic to speak to you, mate. And we hope you have a great evening, and we will see you at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, sounds good. You too.
Cheers. Well, there we go then, Jack. We've crowned ourselves a champion. We've got another one to decide at Spa, which, of course, comes our way on April the 11th. But your first gig with us this evening, what have you made of it, mate? It's been a hell of a race to do it, I tell you that.
Yeah, definitely eventful, and the guys sounding pretty. Well, I suppose they have to be at this level, but pretty mature about some of the incidents out there.
Yeah.
Fairly calm and collected view on some of the crashes, especially from the champion, the newly crowned champion there, with the incident with Bart. But yeah, all round podium, good race at the end. Like you said, I'm still on a bit of a cool down from the last lap pass, to be honest, but. Feel for Paolo in 5th in the end, so still a decent finish, but starting on pole, I'm sure that's not what he wanted. And like I said, actually at the start of the stream, if Maxime did take the championship today, then like I said, some people like to start from the back in that final round and have a relaxed race, which it sounds like he might just do.
Yes, indeed. Well, it was certainly a hell of a place to do it, mate, and it's been a wonderful debut. I'll give you that. I'll give you that feedback live on air for everyone, but I'm sure they'll all agree. It's just a shame that that's all we've got time for tonight, but what a fantastic race we've had either way. Thank you very much for joining me, Jack, and I imagine, and obviously I know, being at Sim Races World TV now, it won't be the last time we work together. But everybody, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for indeed. So we have a new champion, Maxime Briant. We still have an AM class championship to wrap up in 3 weeks' time at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. This has been the Apex Technologies LMP2 Championship on Sim Races World TV. He's been Jack Johns. I've been Chaz Draycott. Have yourselves a wonderful evening and enjoy the song because it's about to hit the drop. We'll see you next time.